Hello, my Teaserking family. How's everybody today? Just back from the pool. I have a chicken salad for lunch with an avocado. Today we'll go through injuries for both college and pros, and we'll walk through the pros and put in our projected scores. I had an interesting chat in the swim lane. Some old lady was in there, so I started talking to her. We were talking about Biden. I go, he's too old to be president. Guy wears a fucking diaper. He's 80 years old. This guy shouldn't be. And she called me an ageist, which I never even knew that existed. She says, "Oh, you discriminate because of age." I looked at her like, "You're an idiot." I called her an idiot. I said, "I don't discriminate against anybody. The fact is he's 80 years old and probably shouldn't be the president and can't stand and doesn't know what he's saying." I go, "You sound like you're a liberal. My condolences. Not sure. I really don't want to talk politics with you. There's no value in talking to somebody like you. In my mind, I'm going, you're too stupid to have a conversation with." So it's just funny the way these old people are, where they, if you have any of your own thought, they immediately, you're a racist, you're this, if you don't like everything. And my counter was, lady, shut the fuck up. I am not talking politics with you. I don't know what an age, you're just making up things. If I don't like something, you can't call me a racist because it's not a race issue. You're calling me an ageist. So the best way to deal with these people is just tell them to go fuck themselves. I said, you don't know anything about me. I don't discriminate against anybody. I don't care. I talk to ages, races, but that doesn't mean they're all worth talking to. I only talk to people that I have something in common. In other words, if you don't like gold, I don't talk to you. I don't care what you are, or what you look like, or whatever. You're too stupid to have a conversation with. So I thought that was pretty funny because just some old lady, two of them, in the pool, and you're just like, if you don't think Biden's too old, what the fuck? And I tried to say, well, look, it's not like I'm a Trump guy. I'm about freedom. I'm not about printing the money to zero. I says, but if you don't have gold, it'll be worthless. So I get my little gold dig in and make them feel bad because, they don't have any gold. And I'm like, oh, okay, fuck off. It's like, fuck off. You can't talk to me anymore. Hey, Bobby Bo. I was just telling a story about the pool. I said Biden was too old, and some lady called me an ageist, which is like not a racist, but because I didn't like that he was old. Like I don't like old people. I said, well, it's got nothing to do with his age. He's clearly is incoherent, and he's in bed with the Chinese. So that's it. Well, I did bring it up, but I knew there was no chance these idiots are if they like Biden, they don't have gold. But I'm getting to the point where I like rubbing it in. Do you have gold? Well, if you don't, you're going to be broke. Just to see the look on their faces was so funny. But anyway, no, it's like, fuck it. At this point, if you don't own gold, go talk to Egon. Maybe they need to listen to Andy Scheckman talk about how the physical gold demand's up, but it's priced in paper, which he doesn't seem to get. All right. So I have posted one lock already. Love the game. I've got the right teams in the right situation. We will see. I kind of still can't believe the Lions are favored. Well, I did say I teach. See, but the problem is the older people aren't open-minded. I can say the sky's blue, and I go, you don't believe me. I told them about cancer. I said, cancer can only survive if there's sugar to eat. Once there's no sugar in your body, the cancer must die because it lives off the sugar. They didn't believe me, and I go, I don't know, well, that's your opinion. I go, that's not my opinion. It's the doctor's fact. Our doctor that's his fact. If they don't, they can't live. It's a fact. It's not my opinion, and I'm not the doctor. Well, I thought I'd go over. I did college yesterday, so I thought I'd do pro and look ahead. And I'm going to go through both injuries now for both teams. And I sent an email to Cam Rising's doctor. So we know the doctor of Cam Rising for the Rams. And I got a phone number. I figured, what am I going to call him for? So it says, contact us. So I sent him an email. Why is Cam Rising not playing if he's healthy? Are you in bed with the USC? He's actually a Notre Dame grad. So he really wouldn't be for USC. So he made a comment of he did Kobe and Aaron Rodgers. I hate people who need to say that to justify themselves. Oh, I did Kobe Bryant. Nobody gives a fuck. So, I mean, Bobby, you can always ask questions whatever you want, but I'm going to do we're going to do NFL injury. We'll go through the lines, and then I'll pick scores. Luke was on lately yesterday. I think you were gone. So I showed him the Egon video. He was happy. So I don't think he'll bother me on win anymore. Just that the Titanic has sunk. All right, so let's go through. So I'm on covers and I'm going through injuries, and half the guys I have never heard of. So I'm only going to go through the guys I know. Buda Baker in Arizona is out with the hamstring. Another hamstring. I heard on the radio listening to sports talk where it was like an ex-NFL player, and he's saying, well, you got to get mentally prepared for the hit and the endurance, to hit somebody and be hit. That's a mental thing that you can't walk through practice, which is the problem. He said, that's why so many guys are injured. And I'm like, yeah, no kidding. I want to say hi to Daria. Just a second. So I always bitch about not talking to Daria, so she always comes on now because she's getting ready for bed. Shit, I missed economics yesterday. No, it was the same Egon one I showed you. I thought I showed it to you the day before. I can show it again. It's just 5 minutes of Egon kind of explaining the Titanic the way I explain it, but in a little different view. Okay, enough of Daria. Well, I cut Luke off before he asked. So basically, Luke, I apologize for that. That's Daria, Russia, and it's 8 o'clock at night. So he comes on, and I said, "Did you see Egon?" He said, "No." So before he could ask, Egon explained what Egon did. If you need to see it again, Bobby, I'll re-show it. But he basically is explaining everything, and then he says, "Okay, I'm very happy." And it was just, we know it's going. We're just, all we can do is wait for it, and all we can do is keep buying more until we can't buy anymore. And I pointed out there's 244,000 tons of gold. That's it. And Russia and China have 100,000 of it. And these central banks are buying the Brics. They don't buy, like me and you, Bobby, we buy the ounces, right? I get a half ounce, an ounce. I'm all happy. But I got 55 ounces. They get 1 ton's 32,000 ounces. So they must get really happy when they get their Brics in. I could see Putin jumping around. Hey, we got 10 Brics in. Woo. Happy day. Happy day. So I think I'll get my hair cut later. She wasn't there till 2, so I'll go after class. Anyway, so I showed it to him. It's only, I didn't show him the whole thing. I started, it's 11 minutes to like 18 minutes. So it's like 7 minutes, but it condenses everything that we ask about. How about silver? What about silver? There's 550,000 tons of silver. So there's a little bit more silver. That's where you get the 10-to-1 ratio. So when they go pull the mineral out of the ground, for every 1 ounce, they pull 10 ounces of silver is the theory. But again, we really don't know what the real price of gold and silver is. Even when I estimate it's 20,000 an ounce, and Eon's friend said 10,000, we don't. It could be 100,000. It's been suppressed for 50 fucking years. You got Orioles going up from $2 to $5. So if Orioles are doubling and Coca-Cola is tripling, why wouldn't gold and silver have gone up at all? Actually going down. What's wrong with that picture? It's a hard question to ask, Bobby. I think mostly gold will go up first. I think gold goes up because, let's say the stock market crashes, or the banks. Let's say the banks start crashing. Probably more of a realistic thing. So you've got your 100 grand in the bank. Where do you go? Well, I don't think you go to silver. I think you go to gold. I think people are smart enough to know, I want to buy gold, not necessarily buy silver. It's like we know to buy steak, but then there's the filet mignon, is the silver, let's say. So it's the gold standard. I think most people would buy gold. Once they understand it, they'll buy silver because it's cheaper. So when gold hits 10 grand, nobody's going to be able to afford it. Very few. That's why I'm pushing to buy it at this price. Once it goes up, silver will follow. So gold goes to 10,000 times 5. Silver should be 500. So people will grin, but they'll go, "Oh, okay, I can afford silver. I'm going to buy. I need something. I need to get out of money." That's when the bells and whistles go off, when they know they need to get out of money. Once they know they need to leave the money, where do I go? And what they don't realize is there's no other paper. There's no other. It doesn't matter if it's euro, if it's British, Swedish, or Swiss, Japanese. There is no other money to go into because it's all not backed by anything. So once people, if you really dig in and understand it, then you realize that there's no choice. People will go into the stock market or their treasuries, but they don't realize that's the same fucking thing. You're still in paper. God, why would anybody be in treasury bills right now? That has to be the utmost stupidest thing. First of all, who are you buying it from? Oh, the U.S. government. Oh, and they're $35 trillion in debt. They're going to pay you back. And by the way, they're giving you 3-4% interest. Inflation's 15%. So I lose 10%. You lose 10% a lot every year on the money, as well as the money going down in value. Yeah, seems like a great investment to go into. So this is the problem. So people don't have a clue. People are all walking in the dark, thinking because they have money, they're safe, not realizing the money isn't safe. And so you're concerned about your silver. All I can say is don't be concerned. It's money. You can't print it or copy it. JP Morgan can't go make 1 billion of them. It's just that gold is the gold standard. Gold you can't fuck with. It's indestructible. Silver wears out, right? So you get a car battery, there's silver in it. Well, you got a computer or a phone, there's silver in it, but it doesn't last. It wears out. It's not indestructible. So this could be Julius Caesar's gold that they melted into a chain, or any of those Roman guys. I could be wearing their gold, not the silver. So just keep in mind they're both money. And I showed you that thing on. Did you see that thing I showed on Ron Paul asking Bernanke about gold? Did you see that, or were you gone by then? But he said, "Oh, it's just it's." I can't remember what he said, but he says, "Well," he said, "Why do central banks own gold?" And he says, "Well, it's just tradition." He said, "Yeah, just for tradition. Yeah, I'm going to have gold for tradition. Yeah, no, because it's real money." And Ron Paul shoots back, "Well, it's been real money for 6,000 years. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about." But who owns the Fed? JP Morgan. He doesn't want gold. So if you take this job to run the Fed, if I took the job to run the Fed, I wouldn't be able to talk about gold, even though I know that's the only thing that can save you. So I would never take that job because I don't sell myself. I give myself to my girls, but I don't sell myself. It's like Toyota. I wasn't going to play their game. I told the treasurer to fuck off. You're out of control. No, I said, you're out of bounds. He's yelling at me, and I says, you're out of line. What are you doing yelling at me? You don't yell at me. I'm the professor. What the fuck are you talking about? You don't yell at anybody. So that's really what it was. They probably got rid of me so I wouldn't sue. I should have sued him. Anyway, so yes, Bobby, don't worry. Gold will go up to 10,000. That'll force silver to go up. $25 silver. Just buy as much as you can. But I would like to see you in some gold So when we go meet Egon in Switzerland, a couple ounces of gold will buy you a house there. You'll have to, we'll have to be on the plane. You'll have this whole boatload of silver. Or you can have 2 or 3 ounces of gold and put it in your pocket and nobody knows you have anything. So keep that in mind. You want to get some gold just because it'll be worth so much more. It'll be much easier to carry to go to Switzerland than trying to carry all the silver. We'll have dinner with Egon. We'll get steaks and stuff, whatever Switzerland has. All right, so let's go to injuries. We'll get back to economics, Bobby. Just ask the question. So Budda Baker's out. He was out last week, and they beat Dallas last week. They beat Dallas because Joshua Dobbs turned into Joshua Fields, and he starts running around, and Dallas wasn't prepared for it. Well, San Francisco saw it. We'll be prepared for it. He ain't going to do shit against San Francisco. You can only do it once. Once you play that play, you can't keep doing it. Let's see. Kyler Murray, of course, is out. I don't know anybody else. Atlanta, Cordell Patterson is questionable. Now, it's hard to get into injuries too early because of that. Really, you don't know till Saturday usually. Everybody will be questionable unless the guy's on IR. So there's a bunch of IRs on Atlanta. O-lineman, linebacker, tight end, O-line, but none of these guys knew. So when you look at injuries, there's dates, right? So you see the date. Well, if it's an old date, so when you see these August 31st and August 19th, we don't care because they've been playing without these guys anyway. It's the new guys that are injured September 26th that we care about. And I'm in Baltimore, so let's go back to Atlanta. So they got these guys on IRs are all August, so we don't care about them because they've been playing without them. Cordell Patterson's the only guy. Baltimore, Beckham is questionable. And Big Bateman's questionable. Gus Edwards is questionable. But they'll all play. Now, J.K. Dobbins has an Achilles, so he's not going to play, obviously. From what I hear, Joe Burrow was not good. Apparently, if they get the pressure on him, he's throwing the ball into the ground. He did win. He says, I'm more worried about going 0-3 than I am my calf, but something's weird. Have you ever heard of a calf muscle taking a month and a half to heal, Bobby? I mean, that just seems like a long time for a calf. That it's something else, maybe an Achilles or maybe he tore something, but a calf takes a week, 2. Maybe we'll have the guy who does Cam Rising and then Cincinnati will wait for him to approve him. All right, Buffalo. Buffalo's good. Just Von Miller. Carolina, Bryce Young, questionable with an ankle. And a bunch of nobodies. That's why they don't win. The Bears, defensive linemen out. Defensive backs, 4 of them are questionable. That's another problem the Bears have. All their defensive backs are hurt. 2 hamstrings, a foot and an illness. Another defensive back's out with the hand, and 2 offensive linemen are out. So part of the problem the Bears have are injuries, and the other part is they don't have any talent. Their quarterback sucks. All right, Cincinnati, nothing. 2 hamstrings, a halfback, and a tight end. All these hamstrings. Cleveland. Now, let's look at Cleveland for a minute. What did Cleveland do? They got Jim Schwartz, the defensive coordinator from Philly, is now their defensive coordinator. And they've given up, where the hell are they? Cleveland plays Baltimore over under 41.5. They're an under team. I think they've given up like 7, 8 points a game or something like that. It's like Georgia numbers. That's what you got to keep an eye on when these coaching changes happen. That's why we can't use the trends. It's between these coaching changes and the quarterback changes that really make it hard to look at last year's trend to get an idea how they're going to play. We're looking at the trend to figure out can we bet them this week? That's why we look at the trend. We don't know because now Jim Schwartz is their defensive coordinator. And now their defense is like the best in the league, statistically better than the Niners, the Eagles. Who else has a good defense? And the Jets. So, you've got to understand that. So that turns this game into an under now with this great defense, and Lamar can't do anything and Watson can't do anything. So let's look at Cleveland. Question, okay, Chubb out with the knee, Conklin out with the knee, which makes their offense less effective, which is good for the under. Plus, Baltimore is pretty good defensively. At least we think they are. They have been. That's it. Dallas, guard questionable, center questionable. Diggs we know is out. Right, another cornerback's out. Two cornerbacks are out. See, this is the problem when you sign Lamar to a $250 million contract. Now, obviously, I'm looking at Dallas, but when Baltimore gets these injuries, they can't spend money on other players because it's all going to Lamar. Lamar sucks, so you're shaking your head going, why did you just spend all that money on Lamar? Because there's a salary cap. You don't have any money left to get the backup linebacker and the backup cornerback and the backup tight end who you need, but you can't sign anybody that's any good. You got to go get a guy off the taxi squad, and there's a reason he's on the taxi squad. He's not any good. So that's your problem. So Baltimore shoots themselves in the foot because it's not like he's Mahomes. Mahomes I can get. Burrow I can get. You pay a lot. You need because they're not replaceable. It all comes back to economics. Mahomes the gold standard. You can't replace them. A lot of these guys you can, like Steve Young. They got Andy Dalton. The Richardson. They got Minshew. They're better with those players. They shouldn't even be starting, but that's where you've got the guys who can replace them. So they're not the gold standard. They're not even the silver standard. They're just mediocre quarterbacks. Anyway, so Dallas, nobody, just a couple of cornerbacks out and an offensive tackle. The other guard and center are questionable. Again, with the hamstring. I love it. I should add up all the hamstring injuries on here, and there's probably 100. Denver, oh God. Could you imagine being the defensive players in practice this week? He's probably got a whip out. Like, if you give up 70 again, you're going to go, you'll be at Target packing groceries. That's just ridiculous. You give up 70 points to fucking Miami? And it was mostly running. One guy got 200 yards and 3 touchdowns. The other guy, I think, got 200 yards and 3 touchdowns. They didn't do too much. Just hand the ball off. All right, Denver. Safety, linebacker, questionable. Defensive lineman, out. This second, baby. Tight end, out. Linebacker out, safety IR, tackle out, safety out, linebacker out, cornerback out. Now you know why they gave up 70 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 of their defensive players are out. I don't know if they're starters or backups. Doesn't matter. How many backups do you have? And then they got a safety linebacker out. So Denver is an over team because Russell Wilson's scoring. He's not your problem. Sean Payton's got the offense going. They don't have a defense. So they're a great over team. They're my Kansas in the NFL. Bobby, Professor, I forgot about Dallas. I was so busy ripping Lamar that I completely forgot to bring up the fact that Dallas lost to Joshua Dobbs as double-digit favorites. And our buddy threw the interception from the 7-yard line with 3 minutes left, Dak Prescott. And if you watch the replay on YouTube, I don't know who he's thrown to. The only guy that didn't have a chance to catch the ball was the receiver. He hit the defensive back in the stomach with the ball at the goal line. That boy Dak. He's my hero. So my play in the free pool for my guy is San Francisco this week. We've seen Arizona. They're not going to beat Dallas and now go beat Arizona with Joshua Dobbs running around. But I said to him, there's probably 99% of the pool gone because I'm sure everybody had Dallas over Arizona. They were 12-point favorites. We had Kansas City because they were playing the fucking Bears. And it was a perfect recipe, Mahomes against that defense. And he did exactly what I thought they would do. But I don't trust Trevor Lawrence. I don't trust Lamar. And I don't trust Dak Prescott. And that's why I bitch about him. Because when you're betting your money on these guys, you can't trust them. How the fuck did Jacksonville lose and Baltimore lose to Houston and Indy? Dallas loses to Arizona. What the fuck's going on here? But we didn't have any of them, and we won't. As the professor, that's what I am good at, avoiding that shit. Mahomes is the gold standard, Bobby. I want to hear you say that from now on. He's the gold standard. Now you understand what the gold standard is. It's the best. It's indestructible, and there is no substitute. Sort of like that Porsche that Tom Cruise went in risky business. There is no substitute. All right, the Detroit losers. Montgomery, probable with the thigh. He was out last week. A guard, questionable. Somebody else I never heard of. An offensive tackle, questionable. There's a lot of injuries on the offensive line to Detroit. A safety, Joseph, questionable. A guard, questionable. Everybody's questionable. Linebacker, Houston, he's a key player. He's out with an ankle. Gardner Johnson is out with a pec. Pascal, never heard of. He's out with the knee. Cornerback out. Linebacker out. And Hooker's out with the knee. Well, we know that. And then Williams is out for betting on football. The Alabama guy finds a way to get paid and not play. He's pulling the Julio Jones. Then when he comes back, he'll hurt the hamstring. Because you can't, it's not like a broken leg. You can see the x-ray. A hamstring, you have no idea if it's really an injury or not. That's the Alabama school. Mahomes gold, Burrow silver, Lamar. No, don't. Now you're giving copper a bad name. I think Lamar is paper, and I think Mac Jones is like toilet paper. Burrow's like gold minus. And then Justin Herbert's up there and those guys. So that's the Lions, a lot of questionable. Green Bay, now they're playing Thursday night off of a win. They've lost to Atlanta, and they beat the Bears. And they're a home dog to the Lions, which never happens. Watson's probable, the receiver. Jones, here we go. I'm giving this as my free play. Take Green Bay because Aaron Jones, I think it's Aaron, the running back, is probable with his hamstring. He's the key. Because Love sucks, but if he throws the little passes, this is the guy that beat the Bears with those 2 long passes. Beautiful. Aaron Jones is probable. Oh, I'm so happy. I'm almost as happy as when I buy gold, Bobby. Offensive lineman questionable, cornerback questionable, linebacker questionable, hamstring, knee. That's it. They only have 3 guys that are like out. The rest are questionables with knees, ankles. They'll all be playing. And what is it? Andrew Jones? Is it Aaron Jones? Is it Aaron Rodgers? What's Jones? The guy from Wyoming, the good running back is probable. I'm so. All right, that's your free play. I'm giving you your free play now. Free. Free. And we're getting points. Oh, I'm so happy. What a dog. I got a dog with Aaron Jones as a home dog against the Lions. Thank you, God. That's what I look for. You get that, it's a lock. Hold on, I'm posting this on my site. Green Bay plus 7.5. Oh. So it's on the Teaser King site. I won't get too close because there's a lock up there. All right, and then I'll have to email my guy. I'll do that after. Let's see if the line changed with this incredible news. I looked earlier, it hadn't. Nope, we still got the Lions as 1.5 point favorites. Let me refresh. Nope. How could the line not change? This is unbelievable. Jones, their best player, is playing, and the line's still the Lions 1.5. Why are the Lions why do people think they're any good? I don't understand this. Bobby Bow. Yeah, Mac Jones is loose leaf paper. He's toilet paper. Andrew Jokes used to play for the Atlanta Braves back in the 90s. Yeah, now he's playing football for the Packers. Aaron June, sis, the M you're talking about. Good God, Bobby. Aaron Jones is the guy, the running back from Wyoming, who's their best player. I know. Could be Andrew Jones. Yeah, you have look at Russell Wilson played baseball for North Carolina State, and now he's the quarterback of Denver. So he played. All right, moving on. So your free play is Green Bay plus 7.5. And as we walk through it, we'll get another free play. Bobby, I expected from you. That's the fun part, is trying to figure out what the hell you're saying. So you're challenging me to decipher. It's like what do they call those things? Yeah, the ciphers, right? And you had to put the cipher in to know what the message said, right? So you're giving me a cipher I gotta figure out. Hey Todd. Bobby, did you get your fill of chicken yet? Was Bobby having a barbecue? You didn't tell me you're having a barbecue, Bobby. Or is this the general? All right, let's go on to Denver. But it's always a fun class. Name a class you had in college that was this much fun and you learned so much. All right, Denver. We got through the safety questionable, linebacker questionable, DL out I can't read the name because it won't matter. I've never heard of any of these guys. That's why they give up 70 points. Linebacker out, safety out, tackle out, safety out, linebacker out, cornerback out, wide receiver out. The only guy that I know that they have who's healthy is Judy and Russell Wilson. So what in God's name does Sean Payton do? Does he have Bill Parcells? Because he used to be Bill Parcells' offensive coordinator. Does he have Bill Parcells come and talk to the boys? My way or the highway? This is who Denver's got the Bears. You've got a Z team in Chicago and a W team in Denver, and they both give up. I think Denver now gives up 40 points a game, and the Bears are like right there at 38 or something. Unbelievable. So I would think it would be a high-scoring game, I guess, Denver and the Bears. Russell Wilson should light up Chicago. Chicago doesn't have a quarterback, so they can't light out Denver. Fields will probably run. I think this will be an over game with Fields running and Russell Wilson throwing for 1,000 yards against the Bears defense. Todd, Professor, last year the Packers were always the favorite and lost and didn't cover. This year they've been the dog and have covered and won. That's because they don't have Aaron Rodgers. They've got Love, who sucks. And so that's how you adjust. But he's not that bad. The coach is showing his mettle this year by being able to give him plays that he doesn't look too bad, like the Aaron Jones little screen and the Aaron Jones over the middle where he scored a touchdowns against the Bears. That's what the coach is good at doing to make Love look okay. Like, I was impressed. They were down 17-0 and beat New Orleans. New Orleans has a good defense. So very impressive. But that's why you get this. The Lions should not be favored in this. Green Bay should be 3-point favorites. Bobby, Todd, do you own gold and silver or a crypto guy or a bank guy? How many Bobby Bo baseball cards do you own? I got mine. I got my Bobby Bo. Let's see. Bobby Bo batting average at bat 426 in 138 games. This is your first year. 109 hits. That's not bad. Your batting average was 256, so you're way ahead of most of the Tigers. 3 home runs, 43 RBI, 8 steals. Bobby had some speed. 62 walks, 88 strikeouts. Bobby, 88 strikeouts. Oof. Yeah, that's hard to swallow, Bobby. All right. So Denver's got a lot of problems. Detroit, we've talked about. Oh, we already went through Detroit. So Montgomery, the running back's probable. The rest of the team's questionable. Gardner Johnson, Houston are out. Pascal's out. So they're good defensive players out. So they're not going to stop Green Bay. All right. So we left it at Green Bay. All right. Houston. What's going on with the quarterback? He's not listed. Now, which one's the Houston quarterback? Houston's got C.J. Stroud. Okay. So C.J. Stroud's apparently playing. He played last week. Houston, a lot of questionables. Stingley, your guy from LSU, Bobby, the best cornerback in the league when he got drafted, out with the hamstring. So that's the difference between Alabama and LSU. LSU brings you Stingley, Honey Badger, Patrick Peterson, Hall of Fame guys. Alabama brings you who? The guy that couldn't handle the 2-point conversion against Seattle. I mean, that's as far as my Alabama logic takes me. All right. I mean, I can't. Jay Scruggs is out as the center. Does that mean anything to anybody? Now, when you look at the injuries, so let's look at the injuries on Houston. Offensive tackle, questionable. Then we got an offensive tackle out. Then we've got 3 more offensive tackles out. That's 5 offensive tackles. That's 3, 4 out and one who's questionable with the knee. I mean, that's 5 offensive tackles that so it's hard to play. They got Pitt this week. All right. They really don't have any. I mean, I can't. Nick Brown, a wide receiver's out. I don't know. I never heard of him. And that's it. Okay, Indy. Now, Indy's got Richardson. Okay. Richardson's questionable with the concussion, but if they play Minshew, they're even better. So I don't understand this spread. Indy's 1.5 over the Rams. Are you fucking kidding me? What makes Indy favorite? Even if it's Minshew, the Rams played Cincinnati good. And let's not forget, they don't have a defense on Indy. So questionable. Richardson's questionable. I'm sure Pittsburgh will defend Richardson if he plays and won't let him run for touchdowns. When I look at Indy now, they're an E team. So they score 25, give up 25. And the Rams are like Pittsburgh. They're an under team. So what I'm doing now is I've got a better grasp on who's an under and who's an over and who's an E and who's an A and who's a Z. So I won't make the same mistakes just because the quarterbacks are back, bet them under. If the defense is not under, I'm not playing them under. And I told my guy that I play, I says, we're not going to have another losing week the whole year. I'm done with that. I do not lose. I'm the professor. That's like getting caught robbing the gold from the Bank of Spain. I mean, you can't do it. You got to be smarter than that. So Richardson concussion, but Minshew plays if it is. So they're better off with Minshew anyway. It's amazing they would start Richardson. How many concussions does he get till he's out? Right, he's got 1. So when he gets to 5, is that he's done or what? And Jonathan Taylor's still out, and they don't have much of a defense anyway. And they're playing the Rams, who lost. They've now lost to the Niners, and they've lost to Cincinnati. So the Rams are itching for a win here anyway. Jacksonville. Now, Jacksonville plays London time at 9:30 in the morning. Talk about being fucked up. Bobby, you know this. You get into a routine, especially when you're in Pittsburgh or the Mets. It's 7 o'clock is the game. We get there at 1, whatever. We eat lunch at 3 or 4, and then we play the game at 7. And when we go on the West Coast, we just same time, but West Coast time. How the fuck do you go to London and have any routine? You got to fly. All right, Jacksonville's East Coast. 10 hours to fly to England when it should be 5? For me, it wouldn't be. To me, it's 9 hours to fly to Barcelona. So I don't know what it would be because you got to come up from Jacksonville to New York to there. So it's a long flight. When do you leave? Sunday, Monday? Are they already there? So you're fucked on your practice time. So it's not a pretty sight. Jacksonville, safety questionable, wide receiver questionable, tackle, linebacker, tight end, L. Taylor, cornerback out, alt tackle out, D tackle out, linebacker out. Fuck. And another O lineman eligible week 5. So you got lots of D. You got 3 linebackers out. And since we don't know any of their names, we don't know if they're starters or not. So if we look at Jacksonville, they're a W. They should be a Z, but we'll call them a W. And Atlanta is actually an under team because their quarterback sucks. So we'll go through that in a minute. So really, I don't know. So here's the problem. I don't know. Here's B. Lloyd, the linebacker questionable. Who the fuck is that guy? I have no idea. That's where it is. Before, you knew all the players. You knew Dick Butkus, and you knew Buffon and Brubacher and the Lions that could name their linebackers. And Kansas City, Bobby Bell, and all their Jim Marcella. You knew all their players. I can't name any of Jacksonville's players to save my life. Kansas City, defensive end questionable. Never heard of. Jones, cornerback, questionable. I'm not going to read all the questionables. Anybody good? No. So there's a safety on IR. There's a tight end on IR, but it's not Kelsey. There's a wide receiver on out with the knee. I don't know. In a defensive end, eligible week 7, obviously for betting. So of their injuries, 4 of them are questionable. 3 on the defensive end. So I don't know. See, and then you got to take the Bear game. Like, they have no offense. They have no defense. They beat a Z team. That's what you're expected. So it's really hard to go to the next game. Let's see who this Kansas City got. They play at the Jets, Jets. Look out for the upset there, boys. Anytime you got a defense, you can upset the offense. Even if it's Mahomes. All right, San Diego. Mike Williams out for the season with a knee. Derwin James, questionable the hamstring. There we go. That guy's injured more than anybody. Eckler is out, but they got Kelly from UCLA. Not a big deal. So not a lot of injuries on San Diego. Williams will hurt, but they've got whatchamacallit. I hate when I do this. Keenan Allen. So they got Keenan Allen, so they're fine. The LA Rams. Stenson Benson's out with an illness. What kind of illnesses you got? Howie Long, the tight end, is out. Cooper Kupp's out. Outside of that, there's really nothing. An O-lineman's got a thigh, and then a defensive back's out with a groin. But it's only 4 or 5 players. Oakland. Garoppolo is questionable with concussion. They play San Diego. Good luck there, Oakland. Garoppolo got a concussion. Him and Richardson. Safety's questionable. C. Jones, defensive end, out with a personal. And what's he taking, a personal day? Cornerback out. Offensive tackle out. Running back I never heard of, out. Another running back I never heard of, and defensive tackle. So Oakland, it's all Garoppolo, and we'll have to see who their backup is, if they have one. Again, it's a question of you're starting the wrong guy at quarterback. He gets hurt and you're happy. Like when Miami went to Van Dyke and all of a sudden started scoring 40 points a game. So I don't know who Oakland's backup is. Miami, Waddle, questionable with concussion. Ahmed, guy from Texas A&M who was really good, questionable with a groin. Eli Apple, Ohio State cornerback, questionable. Craycraft, questionable with the shoulder. 2 O-linemen are out. 2 cornerbacks are out. A defensive back, that's 3, are out, and a linebacker. And this is who? This is Miami. So it's a typical Miami. They're an over team, and they get Buffalo. Buffalo didn't have any injuries. Miami is hurting in the secondary. And we got Josh Allen, who's going to light them up. High-scoring game there, I believe. Minnesota, the biggest chokes in the game. Cam Akers is questionable because he got acquired. How hard is it to – I don't understand. You're going to run up the middle. How many ways can you say you're going to run up the middle? Or just say, we want you to run off left tackle. We want you to run up the middle. We're going to throw you a screen. Why do you put all this shit in to make – just say, hey, we're doing a screen to the right. Okay, on 2. Why do you got to sugarcoat? And then the lineman should know what to do on a screen to the right or a screen to the left. The receivers should know what to just call the play, and then everybody will know what to do. Instead, they do it reverse. They'll go, all all right, blue 77, this, and this. So they're saying, this is what I want the line to do. This is what I want the receivers to do. Well, they should just name the play, and they should know what to do in the play. Hello? Fuck, they make it way too complicated. So here's Cam Akers. He should be able to just – he shouldn't need time because he's acquired. I got to learn the playbook. Fuck that. And the way Minnesota runs, they don't have much of a playbook. Naylor, the wide receiver of Michigan State's out. And that's it. Just a bunch of nobodies. Again, Vikings badly coached and no defense. The New York Giants, not the Jets, the Giants. A. Thomas, the offensive tackle, probable with a hamstring. The defensive back, questionable with a hamstring. The linebacker, questionable with a hamstring. I kid you not. 3 hamstrings, then a concussion to the guard. Barkley's out with an ankle till mid-October. And that's about it. That's all I know. So really, they're missing Barkley, and they got Jones as their quarterback. It's enough you need to know. All right, the Jets, Jets. Abracadabra, the running back's questionable. Adams, the All-Pro. No, he's on Seattle. Adams, I don't know. Safety, questionable. The hamstring. Lyman, questionable with concussion. Aaron Rodgers, of course. So if I look after Rodgers, the tackle's out, and the other 3 guys. So really, they're just one injury after Rodgers that is meaning. You got the Jets defense going against the gold standard, Bobby Mahomes. It's going to be a tough game for Bobby going against this Jet defense. Over under 43, interesting. Can Zach Wilson finally light it up? Is he that bad, or is it just this Nathaniel Hackett is the same guy that coached Denver and doesn't know how to coach? I agree. Anytime you give Packers points, take it. Well, especially at home. It's not against Kansas City or maybe Cincinnati or maybe against the Niners, but against the Lions? Bobby, not yet. I'm still looking and talking to dealers at coin shops. Sounds like Todd's stalling. I'm going to show you Egon, Todd, and you're going to realize you need to buy it now because once it hits 10 grand an ounce, you're fucked. I mean, even if you have 10 grand to buy it, what are you going to buy? 1 ounce? You got to understand, once it hits 50,000 an ounce, you're able to buy 5 ounces now at 10,000. That turns into 250,000. But once it hits 20,000, you ain't gonna be able to afford maybe an ounce, maybe a quarter ounce. Stop dicking around, Todd. I'm your dealer. Just go to your local coin store and buy it. You don't pay tax, no sales tax, no shipping. Go in, you hand them the money, boom. Get the price first. So the Jets, nothing too serious in the injuries besides Aaron Rodgers, of course. New England. Is it Brady or Belichick? I was watching something on YouTube, and the guy's asking Brady, well, did you want the 7th ring to pass Belichick or to pass Jordan? And he really wouldn't answer the question. You know, Brady doesn't want to offend anybody, but I think it was Belichick to prove that it was him, not Belichick. Anyway, defensive lineman out, offensive lineman questionable. Boutte, our buddy Boutte, questionable with a hamstring. I think he played last week. Didn't do a whole lot, but he did play. A lot of questionables. 2 defensive backs out with hamstrings. Offensive lineman out. Wide receiver I never heard of. Trey Flowers is out. You know, they still suck with Mac. They still have Mac Jones as their quarterback. All right, New Orleans, we get Kamara back. He is eligible. He will be playing, and he is fresh. Questionable. Derek Carr out with the shoulder, so we get Winston. Oh my God! So I would assume they're going to run the ball with Kamara, and then Taysom Hill can come in. Taysom Hill is not a bad quarterback. I'd rather have him out there than Winston. Williams, the running back from the Lions, out with the hamstring. Jake Haener back week 7 for betting. So who do New Orleans play? Quarterback out. So we've got Winston or Taysom Hill in. They play Tampa Bay. As of last night, the over-under was 39.5. If it's Winston, the problem is how many interceptions is he going to throw? And now we see Tampa really doesn't have anything. Somebody told me they had a good defense, which it's okay. It's not great. All right, so New Orleans, we get Kamara back. We've got Thomas and we've got Olave. All we need now is a quarterback. All right, Philadelphia. Beast Boston Scott, questionable with a concussion. Watkins, wide receiver, questionable with a hamstring. Nicole Dean, my Georgia guy, linebacker, out with a foot. Georgia players can't get hurt. It's in their contract. That's about it. So Philly's pretty healthy. We'll go through who they play in a minute. Wide receiver, Pittsburgh. Wide receiver, questionable. I have no. Ozawuski. McFarland, running back, out. Dennis Johnson from the Celtics, wide receiver, out with the hamstring. Haywood, defensive tackle, out with the groin instead of the hamstring. So they're pretty healthy. I don't think McFarland matters. Does Dennis Johnson, their wide receiver, does that? I don't know. And then the Ozawuski receiver is questionable. So the Niners. Numero uno in the league. Ayuk questionable with the shoulder. Debo Samuel questionable with ribs, but this game's on Sunday, so they'll both be playing. Greenlaw linebacker questionable. He'll be there. Womack's out, the cornerback, and that's it. So they are very healthy, the Niners. Seattle is a fucking road dog to the Giants. Enough said. The Giants are a Z team. Enough said. Adams, the all-pro safety, is going to play. He's been out for a while, for a year or so. Let's see, a bunch of questionables. Coach Pete, he'll have him out there. Lucas. And my running back McIntosh, but he's the third stringer. He's out with the knee. At least he didn't go the hamstring route. So they're very healthy, Seattle. And they get, Julius Adams? He's the safety they traded for. So he's finally back. That's the problem with the big name guys. It's football. They get hurt, and then you're fucked because the rest of your team, you now out him, and you can't really bring in the good guys. So that's the one thing that New England did so well is they kept the price down. That's why when Richard Seymour left or Brisky left or any of the really stars who wanted to get paid, they let them go because they said, no, I'm not going to pay you $20 million. I'll pay a bunch of guys $5 and $6 million. And that's why Brady never earned the $30 million he should have earned. Although why they never had receivers was beyond me. Tampa Bay. Russell Cage, the wide receiver, is out with the knee. Edmonds, a running back? I don't know. He's out with the knee. So you got 4 questionables and 1 hamstring questionable. Okay. Tennessee, safety out, running back out. We don't care about Will Levis. Keith Jackson, wide receiver, out. Kay Phillips, wide receiver, out. Cornerback, out. Haskins from Michigan, the running back. This is where he's been hiding in Tennessee. You wonder, he played at Michigan. Good running back. You don't see him in the pros. He's IR undisclosed for the whole fucking year. So what is that? But they have Henry and Tannehill still. So good luck to them. And Washington. Thomas, tight end concussion is questionable. Moline, a wide receiver, out. A couple of tight ends out. 3 tight ends out. They're on the IR. That's it. So anybody that's any good, only this Logan Thomas, the tight end, is questionable with a concussion. And this Milne wide receiver, who we've never heard of, is there. All right. So why don't we go to the line? So your free play is the GBAY Packers. We'll steal it from the JETS, Jets. So we've got Detroit 1.5, 45.5. The line doesn't fucking change, even though Jones is playing. Unbelievable. We've got the 9 a.m. Sunday game, Jacksonville 3, 43.5. Hasn't moved. Riddler against Lawrence. First game is Goff against Love. Then we go to Riddler against Lawrence. Buffalo 3, 53.5. To Miami. They've got the injuries. Waddle looks like he's questionable. We know how Tug is in the big games. He chokes, just like Goff. So this should be a high-scoring one, I think, because all Miami games are high-scoring because they don't have a defense. Minnesota 3.5 and 45.5. Cousins against Dalton or Steve Young. Wait to hear. It's funny. If Dalton plays, it's an over game easily. And they'll score. It'll be a 50, 60-point game like the Seattle game last week with Dalton. With Young, you're lucky if you get a touchdown. So what are the coaches looking at that they're starting Young over Dalton? I mean, that's why you have Dalton. He can play this year and Young can learn. Maybe he gets in a little bit, but you don't start Young. Now you got Young injured. The fuck you doing? That'd be like bringing me in to run GM. Well, maybe let me sit with the CFO or CEO right now and learn how they do it, and then sell all their assets and buy gold with them anyway. That's what I would do. That's how I would run a company. I would basically sell all the assets and buy gold with it, and then I'd say, okay, you're all done working. We're just going to sit back, wait for the gold to go up. Why take a risk? Oh, God. Denver and the Bears. Denver 3.5, 46. We got Wilson against Fields. Wilson's far superior. Both teams. Denver's a W. Chicago's a Z. I'll get into that. Right now, we're just getting the line. Cleveland 2.5, 40.5 to Baltimore. Again, Jim Schwartz, Cleveland, the great defense. Baltimore always has a good defense, and they got Lamar, which makes the game even lower scoring. Pitt and Houston, we got Pitt -3 and 41.5. Pickett against Stroud. Stroud looks like he is going to play. LA and the Colts. Indy 1.5, 46.5. It's either Richardson or Minshew against Stafford. They're making the Rams the dog. I just want to. Am I like dreaming, or is this a real spread? Wow. New Orleans 3 and 40.5. It was 39.5 against Tampa. You've got Kamara playing. You've got Carr out. You've got to go with Winston. That's 3 interceptions there. Him and Uglia Buglia are the same. He plays for Oregon State Saturday, and then he goes to New Orleans on Sunday. Okay. Philadelphia, 8.5, 44.5 to Washington. Howell against Hurts. We got Cincinnati, 2.5 and 40.5 versus Tennessee. 2 W teams. Let's just say they don't score and they both have good defenses. That's why I do it, right? So when I see W, I know their offenses aren't doing anything, but when I have a defensive column, I'll say, they're low scoring. I don't know what else to call them. So unless they're under teams, but they must not be. There's 7 or 8 points. They're like scoring 14 and giving up 21. So they're really, I guess they're probably an under team, probably the same thing, but I know what it is. San Diego, 5.5, down from 6.5. Wow. The Sharps are betting on the Raiders. 48.5, up from 47.5. So Garoppolo must be playing for the line to go down and the over to go up against Herbert. For San Diego, 5.5, 48.5. New England and Dallas off of the loss. How pissed is Dallas going to be? Over under 43.5. Dallas, New England. We got Jones against Prescott. Where's Will Greer? The Niners, 14 and 44.5 to Arizona. Dobbs against Purdy. Kansas City, 9.5, 42.5 against the Jets, Jets. Very interesting game. This is strength against strength, which you don't want. You like the KC Chicago or against the weaker defense, like Miami, not against the Jets or Frisco or teams like that. And we've got the Giants, 1.5, 47.5. All right, this has to be, I'm going to give you that as the free game. All right, so 2 very strong free games. The first one is take Green Bay as a home dog, and the second one is take Seattle as a road dog to the fucking Giants. Wow. Now, keep in mind, Green Bay, Detroit's Thursday, and the Seattle game's Monday. Now, you have several ways to play this. You can play Green Bay with Seattle for big money, and if Green Bay wins, then you can trap. You can take the Giants minus 1.5. You got Seattle plus 7.5. You cannot lose because one of them has to win, but you could win them both if the Giants win by 3 or 6 or 7, provided Seattle doesn't win. You would you then win the Giant end and you win the Seattle. So if they win by 3, you win the Giant bet, you win the Seattle bet. That's the beauty of the trap. You can win both ways, but you can't lose. One of them has to win. So if Seattle upsets, you win the Seattle. If the Giants blow them out, you win the Giants, you lose the Seattle. You cannot lose them both, but you can easily win them both with this point spread. Now, that's advanced teaser. And it's more of a defensive posture. Right. Well, I already won the first half of the teaser. Why would I want to not just let it go and take Seattle in 7.5 and win? You can do that, and you have the advantage. And that's not a bad play. I'm saying if you want to play defensive, so let's say you bet $1,000. Let's just use this as the example. So you got Green Bay in 7.5. They win the game straight out. So you got half the 1,000 in. Now you got Seattle plus 7.5 against the fucking Giants, and you're like pinching. Is this real? Is this a real bet? We just went through the injuries. There's nobody really serious, and they get Adams back, the safety. The Giants, we know Barkley's out. I mean, he's out till October for sure, and they still have Daniel Jones as quarterback. So you're sitting there going, wow. So now you can defend and put $900 on the Giants, where you either win like $10 because you juice, but you can't lose, or you can play part of it. It's like a game show. I'll play, Steve, I'll risk 300, and you make a $300 bet on the Giants minus 1.5, where by then you might be getting points, and you already have the 1,000 on Seattle. So worst you can do is you win 1,000, you lose the 300 and the juice, so 330. So you win 670 is the worst you do. If the Giants blow them out, you lose the 1,000, you win back 300, so you lose 700. Or they win by 3 and you win the 300, you win the 1,000, you win 1,300. That's how you can play a trap, especially like this one, because Monday night's naked. It's the one game, and you have all weekend to figure it out and see how you do Saturday and Sunday. If you need the money and you can't afford to lose it, then maybe you bet 500 on it, and then you're only risking 500. We'll keep it simple. You win 1,000, then you bet 500 on the Giants. You lose the 1,000. You win the 500, and you lose 500. So that's kind of your worst scenario. Instead of losing the 1,000, you only lose 500. However, you could win the 500 and the 1,000. You could win 1,500. So, and the odds favor you to win the teaser because you're getting 6 points. You're getting 7.5 with Seattle already. So you've got the best bet on the board on Monday night. You've got the dog plus 7.5, who should be favored by a touchdown. So you already have Seattle plus the points. So the odds on you winning that are high, which is why you bet $1,000 on it. So that's how you must attack it. And then it's, what do I do here? Do I want to trap it, or it's such a good bet, I'm just going to leave it and I'll let the 1,000 ride. I'll let it ride. I either win the 1,000 or I lose it. But the chances are I'm going to win it because I'm getting 7.5, which is a much better play than the 1.5. So that's how you trap a teaser, where you bet on both sides. And virtually, you cannot lose both bets. One of them has to win, right? There has to be a winner, but you can win both. And I've done that several times with a number like 1.5, too. I got to get my water just a second. So that's advanced teaser for you. And it's such a beautiful, we've got two dogs that are, my line's Green Bay -3, Seattle -7. That's my line. Seattle -7 against the fucking Giants. How the fuck are they favored? What, are you kidding me? All right, so let's go through the teams. Detroit's an under team. Green Bay's a B, so they score more. Both teams have good defenses. Should be a very close game. Take the dog. Goff against Love. I like the under in the game, 245. Which Detroit team shows up, God only knows. They lose to Seattle 37-31, and then they beat Atlanta, who's a good team, 20-6. It's their weakness is the secondary, right? They have no secondary, no pass rush. So a good passing team is going to beat them. Now, Mahomes had them beat, provided the receivers could catch the ball, and Kelsey didn't play. They got lucky they played Kansas City week 1 when they did, and that Kelsey got hurt in practice 2 days before. If they played him now, they'd get buried. Green Bay's got Love, who's not great quarterback, but they'll throw to Aaron Jones a lot. and their defense is pretty good. So it should be a close game, I think. Atlanta and Jacksonville. Atlanta's an under. Strong defense. They run a lot. They're like Army. Jacksonville's favored by 3. I have Atlanta favored by 3. Jacksonville is a W team. They don't score and they have no defense. I'm not quite sure why they're favored. Keep in mind, it's a road game. It's in London. It's 9 fucking o'clock in the morning. They're out of their minds. Who do they think's waking up in Jacksonville and Atlanta to watch a 9 o'clock game on a Sunday morning? And I think it's on like Apple Prime or something. Who the fuck did they think's going to buy that to watch this game? See, the NFL pays them, but nobody's going to subscribe to it. Not for this game. I don't know that there's any game I would pay one of these services for. It's like the YouTube. It's got some college games and Peacock. Fuck it, I'll watch what's on. I don't need to pay another $10, $15 to watch Michigan play East Carolina. Who the fuck cares? I'll watch LSU Alabama over that all day. Or any other, give me a good college game, I'll watch it. I don't need to watch Michigan, especially against a weak team. And with all the commercials you pack in there, I wouldn't even watch half the game anyway. You go in, you check the score, you watch 5 plays, you go to the other games on the other networks, and then you maybe click back for the score. And if they're up 35-0, you're not clicking back. Okay, so you got to like Atlanta as a dog here. Trevor Lawrence. So it's Lawrence against Riddler. Strong running. Jacksonville's defense is very weak, so Atlanta should be very competitive in this game. Especially losing 20-6 to the Lions. They've got to be embarrassed anytime you lose to like the Lions. Buffalo, 353.5. Tug against Josh Allen. Buffalo is an A team. They lost to the Jets boys. Miami's the over team. I don't know if they've lost. Don't really care. Yeah, they beat San Diego. What else is new? And then last week, I got Buffalo -7. You got to like the over. Like Josh Allen should light him up. I mean, he should get 40 points on Miami. And will Miami light up Buffalo? Buffalo's got a pretty good defense, but we don't know. Had Aaron Rodgers played, we would have got a really good view of their defense. But even that was week 1. I think Buffalo wins. I think it goes over 53-47. I mean, Miami's played a 70-point game with San Diego, a 90-point game last week. I really don't see their defense stopping Josh Allen. This is the type of game he excels in because he's playing a very weak defense. So I like this over. Denver and the Bears. We got Denver, a W team. Decent offense, terrible defense. The Bears are a Z team. Very bad offense, no defense. Over under a 46. Wilson against Fields. I mean, normally I like the over in the Bears games because Fields runs for 20 points and the defense can't stop a high school team. I honestly think if USC played the Bears, USC would win by 40 points? I don't believe the Bears could stop Caleb Williams and USC. Now, I don't think USC can stop the Bears. Their defense sucks, but if they played USC or Washington, or we won't go to Oregon, but if they played USC or Washington, and if Rising was playing Utah, they wouldn't win the game. Those 3 teams would beat the Bears straight out. With that said, how do you trust Denver? What is practice like this week, giving up 70 points? The coach must have yelled out of his mind. These guys probably got to just, okay, you're practicing for 8 hours today. I don't care what the contract said. You're not coming in. We're not feeding you. You're going to practice the whole day as punishment for giving up 70 points. They couldn't stop handoffs. The guys are running for 200 yards. Wow. We know there's a lot of injuries. I would think you'd have to, the only real choice you have is to go over. Although Fields, I mean, he's so bad. We'll go over scores in a minute. I just think Russell Wilson will light them up because they're so bad, but I think Fields, against this defense, has to be able to score. So I think it's an over game. Baltimore and Cleveland. Both are B teams. Cleveland's really showing a big defense with Jim Schwartz, the coordinator. Bees they score okay, and they got really good defenses. We've got Lamar against Watson. 2.5 and 41.5 is the total. I think you got to go under with this Cleveland defense. Because with Chubb out, and Watson stinks, he looks terrible. And we know Lamar, what's Lamar going to do against this defense? I mean, what can he do? What's he going to do? He'll go, 10 of 30 for 84 yards, and he'll run. He'll get sacked 5 times, then he'll try to run, which he won't. He's not going to do anything. So I think Cleveland wins, and I like the game under. Cincy, Tennessee, Joe Burrow played. He got the win. Now they go to Tennessee. So they're 1-2. They have to win. Like I said, their back was against the wall Monday. We've got Cincy, Tennessee. So Henry's playing Tannehill against Burrow. Both are W's. Both are having a hard time scoring, and both are really good defensive. I like Cincinnati with Burrow, but we know he's not healthy. And or the what's the over under on this? 40.5, I think. I love when I write it, and then I change it to write the new number. Yeah, 40.5. Good God. Okay, there we go. 40.5. So I think you got to go under with this. Although Cincinnati did play Baltimore a 51, and then Monday night was a low scoring. What was that? It was 19-16. So yeah, that's probably about what you'll get here. Tennessee always has a good defense. Good coach. I like Vrabel. The LA Rams, the RAMS, Rams against Indy. I got the Rams as an under team. They're not scoring. Aaron Donald, they're playing good defense. Indy is an E team. They scored 24. They give up 24. They beat Houston. And then they won last week. They beat Baltimore 22-19. The guy kicked 18 field goals. You got Stafford against Minshew or Richardson. What do we prefer? Well, I think Minshew. I'm more scared of Minshew than I am Richardson. Now, he can run, but believe me, the Rams will be ready for Richardson. He's not going to run on them like he did against Houston, who's got no coach. I got the Rams -7, and they're getting 1.5. Thank you very much, God. Sometimes I love the football gods. So 1.5. Rams are an under team, as I said, in a knee. I mean, this is all take the dog. I mean, you're giving me the Rams in 7.5. Stafford's playing, Aaron Donald's playing. They got some new receivers. Okay. And I don't know if that's because Minshew's playing or they think Richardson's playing. I would assume this line must be on Minshew, so I will recommend playing this game like right now. Because if Richardson's better and he plays, I can't see this line staying at 1.5. So take that RAMS, Rams. Tampa Bay, New Orleans. Both teams are under. Mayfield against Winston, which really makes this an under. Winston's terrible. Mayfield, pretty bad. I mean, both of them aren't very good. Should be a low-scoring game. That's what New Orleans is doing. Over under 48.5. With Winston, I wouldn't bet New Orleans to win. We have Kamara back, so we're going to turn it into an Army-Navy game. It'll be a lot of running, low score. How many interceptions does Winston throw? What, 3? So it's going to be one of those games. So with that said, I think under is the play. Philly, Washington. Washington's a W team. They don't score a lot, no defense. Their win against Denver now looks a little bit funny, doesn't it? Philly's a B team, almost an A team. They're scoring well. Their defense is starting to play better. Thurston Howell, the third against Hurts. Over under 45.5, 8.5 is the line. Philly's a better road favorite than they are a home favorite, actually. Need to look at the teaser trends, which I'm about to do after the show. I think Philly wins. I think they got it going. They beat Tampa by 14. So I like Philly here by laying 2.5. Over under, probably an over 44.5, 38. So you need 21 into 20. I don't know. Howell threw 4 interceptions, looked like himself. That was against Buffalo. So they lose 37-3 to Buffalo at home. Yeah, Philly's going to put so much pressure on them. Yeah, I think it's actually an under game. Yeah, Philly, I think, lay the 2.5 there. Minnesota, 3.5, 45.5. Cousins versus Dalton or Steve Young. Minnesota's an over team. They score and they don't have a defense. Carolina doesn't have a defense. With Dalton, they're probably more of an over team. They showed up against Seattle last week. With Young, they're a W team. So now we got to watch. So between the Indy quarterbacks and the Carolina quarterbacks, and then we got the New Orleans, so we've got to be careful of the new quarterbacks. Now, in Indy and Carolina's case, the replacements are better than the starters. Why are the coaches doing this? I have no idea. Or do they think the crowd's going to come out and watch them lose 42-0 with Steve Young and with Richardson? Is that going to draw the crowd? Is that why you drafted them? Not to win, but to draw a crowd? Because why? Who wants to pay to see Richardson quarterback? He sucked at Florida. Not going to be much better here. Okay. So we got to wait till we know who the quarterback is. Dalton, we bet the game over. Young, then it turns into actually taking Minnesota. So we hope Dalton plays. We can bet the game over. It's a better bet. Pitt and Houston. Pitt's an under team. Houston is an under team. Pitt -3. We got Pickett against Stroud. Stroud might actually be better than Pickett. Stroud's actually not great, but he's putting up some numbers. However, they're not winning. Well, they won last week. What did they do? They beat Jacksonville 37-17, but I don't know how much was Stroud throwing or what happened. Over under 41.5. I got under because it's Pittsburgh. Pickett won't do much, but even Stroud, he's not going to light it up against Pittsburgh. I mean, this is a real defense he's playing, not Jacksonville's. He's played Indy and Jacksonville. So this is what's skewing Houston, but there's still an under against Houston and Jacksonville. So now they play a real defense. They're going to have trouble. Oakland, San Diego. Oakland is a W team. They're not scoring. Bad defense. San Diego's an over. They'll score 40 and give up 40. That's their MO. We got Garoppolo against Herbert. Garoppolo's questionable. Herbert's fine. Herbert lost the one receiver, but he's got others, so I'm not worried about it. Eckler's out. Doesn't matter. They got Kelly from UCLA, who looks really good. So not worried about those injuries. San Diego, 5.5, 48.5. So if Garoppolo's out, who's their backup? If Garoppolo plays, then I think we can. Well, they're a W with Garoppolo, so without him, they're a Z team. San Diego's an over team. I think you can take San Diego. If Garoppolo doesn't play, then I think you can go San Diego. And I hate taking San Diego as a favorite in the San Diego games, but I think here you're okay without Garoppolo, depending on who the fuck the starter is going to be. With Garoppolo, I still think San Diego wins, but it's probably an over game just because San Diego plays high-scoring, close games. Dallas and New England. New England is an under team. Mac Jones sucks against Prescott, who sucks. Dallas is an A team based on their 40-0 win over the Giants, not based on them last week losing to Arizona. However, off of a loss, they should be pretty pissed off. New England doesn't show much offense. Jones is terrible. Not a lot of running. Well, a little bit of running with the Ezekiel Elliott. Ezekiel coming back to Dallas. You fucking traded me. I'll show you. I mean, we don't know. Good luck on Micah Parsons. I'm sure he doesn't like, here Parsons was his teammate. Now he's got to go against him. I'm sure he's not happy about that. So, a very interesting turn of events here. The problem is he's got Mac Jones as his quarterback. Problem with Dallas is they got Prescott. I think it's an under game. New England should bring defense. Dallas, we know, has a great defense. Prescott saved us last week with that interception from 7 yards out in the end zone with 3 minutes left. So maybe he'll save the under this time. I think you got to go under with a Dallas, New England, good defensive teams. I think it's an under. Dallas will be upset about losing to Arizona. I'm not sure they can do anything here, although Jones sucks. So we'll see if Jones is going to throw the ball 50 times or what they're going to do. That's what they did against Philly. So they played a 25-20 with Philly, a 45. This is a 43.5, so you go under 49 in the Dallas game. Seems like that should work. Arizona and the Niners. Arizona, an under team. Now, they're sky high from beating Dallas. Now you got the Niners, and now the Niners see you. They're in the same division, the West. So Arizona needs, Frisco needs the game, right? They can't lose this game like Dallas could because in the same NFC West. 14 points, 44. Frisco's the A team. They're the best team in the league. In the NFC, Arizona, basically an under. I don't know if they have a good defense. They just play low-scoring games. Although, well, even last week with Dallas, they won 28-16. And the week before, I'm in my college book. The week before, still in my college book. What the fuck? And the week before, Arizona. Yeah, they lost to the Giants 31-28, amazingly enough. So I think Frisco just blows them up. Now they've seen the Joshua Dobbs playbook, which he's basically running around like he's Fields or Lamar. Not a great passer. He sucked at Tennessee last year, and he got blindsided and fumbled, costing them the game against Jacksonville, the playoff game. So I don't see him doing much. We know how strong Purdy is. We know how strong McCaffrey. They should get Ayuk back, and then Deebo Samuel is questionable, but by Sunday I'm sure they'll play. Questionables on Wednesday versus questionables on Saturday are a different animal. I would imagine they're going to play. So, with that said, I think you got to go under 50. Just like the Dallas game, we went under, and that was the lock. We went under and stayed. I think it was 49. Here's 50. This is like Georgia. It's better. It's pros. I mean, it's like you got the Niners in a 44. You can go under 50 with the Niners. Who the hell is going to put up points on them? Especially Joshua Dobbs. So I think this is an under. 14 is a big number. I mean, you got to lay 8. Maybe they do it. And again, Arizona shot their load against Dallas. They don't have anything left. They got the win. Okay. They lost to the fucking Giants. So that's, again, I think under should be good here. KC and the Jets. KC's a B team. They're not quite scoring, and they got it all against the Bears. And then the Jets are an under team. They don't score, and they got the great defense. Over under 42.5. Mahomes against Wilson. I think all the Jet games you got to play under. So far, we had them as a home dog to Buffalo and a home dog to New England. Won them both. At Dallas, we played the under, won that. This is a home game. I think this is also an under. They're going to be after Mahomes. This is a great defense. And a great defense, as I said, can shut down a great offense. If Zach Wilson ever learned how to actually play quarterback, they'd be winning these. But it's just when I got a great defense, and, KC's defense has been pretty good. So I like this game under. And then, as I said, the free play, the Giants, 1.5, 47.5 to Seattle. Seattle's the over team. The Giants are the Z team. Smith against Jones. Sounds like a Western. Smith's the better quarterback. Barkley's out. He's not questionable. He's out till October. Where the fuck are the Giants going to get enough points to blow out Seattle? Are you kidding? With Metcalf and Lockett, good quarterback, good running back, the defense gets the star back. I don't see how Seattle loses this game. I still can't believe I get 7.5. So take Seattle plus the 7.5. Smith over Jones. You got Seattle, and they are a very strong road dog like San Diego. Anytime you get those two teams as a road dog, in this situation, you just jump all over it. You bet your house on it. I mean, okay, if Seattle went to Kansas City, okay. San Diego still wins at Kansas City. Well, they cover against Kansas City. But if the only team, like if Seattle went to Philly, maybe I wouldn't take them as the dog. Or the Niners. The Niners pounded them last year. A really strong defensive team I'd worry about. This is the Giants. They don't have a strong defense. Arizona put 28 on them. Okay, so free picks. Home dog, Green Bay against the Lions. Running back is back. Jones, Aaron Jones. He's back. Look for them to be able to score on the Lions. I don't see the Lions. I don't get the Lions. Green Bay's got a pretty good defense. Should be a close game. I can see Green Bay winning and then take Seattle as a dog to the Giants. You don't see it often. I got Seattle as a 7-point favorite. All right, I should have put the scores in before the lines, but we'll ignore the lines. Detroit, Green Bay, I go 23-20 Green Bay. Atlanta, Jacksonville, I go 24-17 Atlanta. Buffalo, Miami, I go 35-30 Buffalo. Denver and Chicago, can I even pick a score here? Well, Russell Wilson still lights them up, even though they won't stop Fields. Let's go 42-35 Denver. Baltimore, Cleveland, 17-6 Cleveland. Cincinnati, Tennessee, let's go 20-17 Cincinnati. The Rams at Indy, 24-14 the Rams. Tampa, New Orleans with Winston. Oh my God, Kamara. Yeah. All right, 17-14 New Orleans. Philly, Washington, 34-20 Philly. Minnesota, Carolina. Who do I put in? If it's, let's say this is a Dalton score, will be 31-24 if it's Dalton. If it's Young, 31-17. Pitt and Houston, 14-10 Pitt. Oakland, San Diego, we'll assume Garoppolo, 35-20 San Diego. One of the rare games that aren't close. Just second profit. Dallas, New England, 21-13 Dallas. Frisco, Arizona, 31-10. Yeah, San Francisco. Kansas City and the Jets. I got to really do some INFJing here. What do I see? I see 21-17 Kansas City. And Seattle and the Jets, the Giants, 27-10 Seattle. And that's the bottom line because Stone Cold said that's the bottom line. Zach Wilson is shit. Okay, he should have kept his ass at LSU for a other year because he's been non-existent in the NFL. Who are we talking about there, Bobby? Zach Wilson went to BYU. Bote, Profit. Hey, Professor, do you an email address I can reach you at? Yeah, go on to www.teaserking.com and you'll get my email there. I'm leery to put it out here. I would prefer you went to the site and got it. But let me know if you can't find it there. I have a couple of charts with my updated college football and pro football power ratings I'd like to take a look at. Okay, well, I'll be happy to do. All right. Mahomes is going to kill him. Not the Jets. He killed the Bears because they don't have a defense. He ain't going to kill the Jets. He's going to bury Zach Wilson. Was talking about Bote. Yeah, Bote, well, wasn't he there a while? But yeah, well, the problem is he's at New England. I can't believe Cincinnati with Burrow and Chase did not draft Bote. I was shocked because I didn't think he was in the draft because you said that. And then I see New England took him in the 7th round, and I'm like, are you kidding? Cincinnati didn't draft this guy? Now they got T. Higgins and Chase, but this guy's right up there. And he's a speedster, and he probably played with Burrow and Chase. Maybe they didn't like him. I don't know. But if he played on Cincinnati, he'd do more. So you got to remember, he's playing with Mac Jones, so you can't expect too much from him. All right. That was a salad with chicken. Okay, so I don't do power ratings per se, but what I do is rank the teams. So I look at my scoring, and we'll take the Green Bay game. They're a B team because they score mid to upper 20s. They give up low 20s. Then I look at their quarterbacks, Goff and Love's okay, and they're better with Aaron Jones. So I don't really think there's true value out of doing a power ranking. Who's the best team? Who's the second? Who's the third? Because of the schedules. So look at Baltimore. They fucking lost to Indy. They beat Houston, and then they beat Cincinnati. So they're okay, but they fucking lost to Indy. So because of the schedules, you can't really compare it. Is KC the best team? Well, they lost to Detroit. They can't be the best team. And who they're playing. So probably I think the Niners are the best team, the most complete. So if we look at my way of doing it, the A teams are Buffalo, Dallas, and San Francisco. So I only got 3 A teams. How to rank them 1, 2, 3, I have no idea. Now, Dallas, yeah, they lost to Arizona, but we'll see what they do to New England. So that's not good. KC functionally could be an A team again. Philadelphia is performing stronger, but I don't care. It's Philly against Washington. What do I think? What's the point of the ratings? I do want to see what type of team they are. So what I'm looking for is KC Chicago. Chicago with no defense, and I got Mahomes. He's going to light them up. This week, he's got the Jets' strong defense. He's not going to light up the Jets' defense. So that's what I'm really looking for, is the good offenses against the weak defense versus the good offenses against a strong defense. So that's what I want to see. But then I see teams like Baltimore and Cleveland, two good under teams. So, I might bet the under. I got Denver and Chicago, two teams with no defense. That game should go over. Russell Wilson's still a good quarterback. Minnesota, Carolina, two over teams as long as Dalton plays. Then you got New England, Dallas, and Arizona and the Niners. Good defensive teams, should be lower scoring. So I'm looking at how to bet this stuff. I'm not. Okay, so we'll say the Niners are the best team. Are you going to take that? Are you going to lay 14 to Arizona after they just beat Dallas? No. So I don't know what the value is. Unless I know what kind of defense they have, I don't see a value in understanding this. So that's my point, right? I'm trying to bet on it. So even in college, I look at a bunch of teams, right? Georgia, are they the best? If Rising plays, Utah's right up there with that defense. I don't think USC's up there. They don't have a defense. We look at Notre Dame, who has a good defense, who I thought had terrible coaching on their play calling. I still think they're good with Hartman. And then the fourth team being Florida State, who went into Clemson and beat them. So those are the best four teams. Is Washington's defense good enough? And then USC doesn't have a good defense. I mean, fuck, they gave up 30 points to Arizona State. Like, really? So that's what I have. Then you got Michigan's good. Ohio State just beat Notre Dame, but I don't think they're any good. We'll look at college. You've got Notre Dame at Duke. Duke should win that game. Duke's a better team. Duke's a very good team. They killed Clemson, right? Week one or not, I don't care. They killed Clemson, so you got to give respect to Duke. Clemson goes to Syracuse. Syracuse is a very good team. You got Texas and Kansas. You're laying 17 to Kansas? Are you kidding me? I mean, Texas is not like an Alabama team. So, again, they're overspread because they beat Alabama. So, again, I don't know. That's why it doesn't really matter who's one and who's two and who's three and who's four. So I don't buy the power rankings like that. Yeah, because he had posted the Instagram that he was returning for one more year to win a title, saying unfinished business, etc. And out of nowhere he goes to the draft. Well, you got a lot of money to go to the draft. I don't know if he liked the coach, Brian Kelly. Maybe he didn't like him. Maybe he thought he'd go higher in the draft. I'm sure he didn't think he'd go in the 7th round. Yeah, maybe he didn't like Daniels. Daniels can't hit the broadside of a barn either. So I don't know. I'm surprised he didn't transfer as opposed to going pro. That would have made more sense if he went to Notre Dame with Hartman, or went to Washington with Penix, or went to USC. I could have seen that with Williams. That would have made more sense than what he did. But we'll see. Anyway, so that's your NFL. I got to do my teaser trends, but really not a lot there. I can only go back about 2 years on half these teams. Most of them, what can I do with Green Bay with Love? I got 3 games. Yeah, Miami, Buffalo, I can do. Denver got a new coach. Cincinnati, I can do. Tennessee, the Rams, I can't do. Indy, I can't do. Tampa, can't really do. New Orleans with Winston. Washington, I can't do with Howell. So a lot of them you can't really use. There's about 7 or 8 teams. San Diego we can use. Dallas we can use, but very little. Kansas City and Seattle. So we can use it. We can use about 8, 9 teams. Their trends for more than a year. And all we can do is kind of like feel our way in the dark with Carolina and Houston and Indy. What do you do with these guys? I mean, you don't know. So anyway, that is week 4 in the NFL. I have given you the free picks. So don't forget, we've got Green Bay tomorrow as the dog, and we got Seattle Monday night. So now, if we miss Green Bay and it loses, you still have Seattle to come back with and playing a teaser that you like. I haven't done the free college yet. Like I said, the lock is pro. The college, I have posted a couple college. Now, the A&M Arkansas game is in Jerry World. So you've got to look at it as a road game for both teams. They do it every year because Jerry went to Arkansas. We've got Clemson, Syracuse. Syracuse is a home dog. I was watching the Army game, but it's hard to really get. I think Syracuse is a good team. I think Clemson, you got to be wary of. They're emotional at home to Florida State in an overtime game and lost. You've got Notre Dame, emotional as a home dog to Ohio State, and they lose in the last second. And here's Duke just waiting for them. And you got to be a road favorite at Duke, who beat Clemson badly. Syracuse hasn't really beaten anybody, but who's Clemson beaten? And there's a third one that that was on oh yeah, and then my other one is Texas 17 over Kansas. That is a huge number to give to my Kansas team. So I don't. There's no way I'm taking Texas this week. Not going to happen. But we'll talk more about college tomorrow. My biggest problem is I like too many games in college. Now remember, Alabama lost already, so they can't afford to lose. Even though they're not coming off of a loss, they have a loss. They can't lose. Arizona, be careful. Their quarterback, I think, is out or doubtful. So you got to keep an eye on that. Now, Utah and Oregon State. So I emailed the doctor and asked him, why the fuck is he not playing? I found the doctor's website. And I will show you. This is the doctor for Cam Rising out of LA. I am tempted. Should I call this number, Bobby? Get a hold of this girl, the executive assistant, and start bitching at her that we're trying to bet on Utah and ask her, why are you holding him out? Because if he can practice, he can play. Or he can't play, he can't practice. And why do you wait till Saturday afternoon to make the decision? Why don't you? Is he coming? Did he fly into LA today and you looked at him and said no? Why is he practicing? So should I call executive assistant Terry Chevalier, sports agents and athletic trainers? Please contact Terry at this number or by appointment. Should I call should I make an appointment and say this is the professor trying to understand what the fuck's going on here and why it's up to this guy? Now in his thing, he says, oh, well, I did, let's see, let's go to his home. This is the son of a bitch. Now, the problem is he sounds like Madoff, chairman of the board of the Curlin Joby Orthopedic Foundation. Yeah, this guy sounds like Madoff. He's head team physician for the Dodgers and the Rams. He's the former president of the American. Oh, great. So this guy's crooked as hell. And he's worked on, here's a better look at this. This guy's obviously a communist. He's got the blue tie. He's got the checkered suit. Yeah, he's a communist. He's the orthopedic consultant to the Los Angeles Kings, Los Angeles Lakers, Anaheim Ducks. Okay, so why the fuck you leaving out our guy? This guy sounds nasty. Top 50 most powerful in LA sports by the LA Daily News, and one of the top 100 most powerful people in Major League Baseball. This guy sounds like a fucking communist. So there's definitely betting going on here. But the Hollywood Top Doctors is one of the best orthopedic surgeons in LA. Oh my God. Only a loser wants awards. Jesus Christ. Anyway, he worked on Aaron Rodgers and he worked on Kobe, but I can't find that. So what do you think, Bobby? I should call the office and ask him why the fuck he's not. Why is he letting him practice, but he can't play? And what is he basing it on? Now he's a communist, so he'll probably won't talk cold or anything. So anyway, this is the problem with Cam Rising is this asshole who's keeping him out. But we don't know what's going on. We don't know if he's flying in Cam every Friday, checking him out, saying you're not ready. Is he just doing it by osmosis? How do you feel? But he's letting him practice. And why is the University of Utah's doctor saying he's okay, but you're not? Like, who the fuck are you? But he seems very power hungry. Dr. Neil L. Trax, whatever the fuck. Part of the KGB, no doubt. So that's what we got, Bobby. I think a phone call is definitely there. Seems like a good surgeon, but a communist. We can't have that. So looking at my bets, if I know Rising's out, I bet this game under with Utah and Oregon State, 44.5. If he plays, I love Utah 9.5. That would be such a big lock. And this is what this guy's killing us. So what am I can't do anything. This game's a Friday night game. So hopefully by Friday at 6:00, we will know if he's playing or not based on the money. Right now, Oregon State's 3.5, 44.5. The spread jumps to even, he's playing. If it goes to, well, this is probably a non-Cam Rising line, 3.5, 44.5. The way this Utah defense is playing, Ooglia Booglia ain't going to do shit in this game. He'll have at least the 3 interceptions. He'll think he's back at Clemson, just like Washington State showed him. But this is the problem. It's not like he's hurt. He's practicing. He's ready to go. Even he says it, and the Utah doctor's saying it. So this is very frustrating for us because we can't bet. Because if we bet the under and Rising plays, it might be high scoring because Rising's playing. And if we know he's playing, we want to take Utah 9.5 and bet our gold on it. So it's very, very frustrating because Utah with Rising wins this game easy. All right. So if we look at the big games, we got Utah, Oregon State. We've got Clemson, Syracuse, USC against Prime. Still trying to figure out that. I watched the Colorado-Oregon game, and I laughed my ass off. Oregon ran a lot on USC. On Colorado, they couldn't do shit. I don't know if USC is a running attack and if they even want to run with Williams. But I don't see Colorado's defense doing shit. The question's on the other side of the ball. Will Colorado be able to score? Obviously, they were 3-and-out against Oregon the whole game. But they don't really have that defense, USC. So it should be a high-scoring game, I would think. What else? We got Florida, Kentucky, A&M and Arkansas. We got the Miami-Kent game. Don't forget that one. Kent's the Z team there. Michigan, Nebraska. Georgia and Auburn, good game. Kansas, Texas, good game. Baylor, I don't know if the quarterback's still out. He's listed as questionable with the knee. We'll have to see more by Friday. The Hawaii-Vegas game, that should be a very high-scoring one. LSU and Ole Miss. Who are you taking there, Bobby? LSU laying 2.5, 67.5. My God, against Ole Miss. We got Oregon, Stanford, Iowa State, Oklahoma. I don't think there'll be 20 points scored in the game. Coastal Carolina, Georgia Southern. We got Notre Dame and Duke. We got Iowa, Michigan State. And then we turn the page to Alabama against Old Mississippi State, Washington, Arizona, and Nevada, Fresno State to finish it out. So we'll get more into college tomorrow, but that's just things to look for. So I have posted a little college, but I'm taking my time this week. I've been playing it a little too quick and making some really good plays. Last week I had Washington State with BYU. It was a lovely play. W there. My over-unders killed me. My Oregon over, the Georgia under, the Iowa State under. That's where I got hurt. Not picking the games. I picked the games very good. So I'm trying to figure out what I want to do with it, but I'm taking my time. I know I got those two. I think like Iowa, Michigan State, that Michigan State's terrible. Notre Dame, Duke, I'm debating. Do I take Duke as a home dog? Do I take Syracuse as a home dog? And Kansas as those are my three that are bothering me right now. Sometimes you just look at the game and you know it, right? Yeah, Iowa, Michigan State sucks. Iowa just lost 34-0. Look for them to bounce back. But some of these, you just, who do we trust and what do we do with it? So Alabama should kill Mississippi State because they find they have to win. It's a conference game, and this is Saban doesn't lose these games. And after killing Ole Miss, he's going to kill Old Mississippi State. So we will see. We haven't decided much yet. We'll get more into that tomorrow. So anyway, your free pros you've gotten. Take the dogs, Green Bay, and take Seattle. I'm literally speechless that Seattle's getting 1.5. That is the most obvious play I've seen in 5 years. I mean, Barkley's out. Jones is going to beat me. The Giants couldn't stop a high school team. Seattle's healthy pretty much. They're getting their safety back. Quarterback's healthy. Coach Pete. I'm just, what am I missing here that the Giants are favored over Seattle? I mean, you've got to be fucking kidding me. Texas A&M quarterback is out for the rest of the season. Oh, Wegman. Oh, good. Let's bet. Okay, let's take Arkansas getting 6.5. I wonder what the spread is. Who is M. Johnson? Is it the guy from LSU? Who, Magic Johnson? No, he played for the Lakers. Everybody knows this. M. Johnson, where are you seeing M. Johnson from? All right, we might have a free play in college if the spread didn't move. So let's get to Is M. Johnson supposed to be the backup? Wow, A&M is still 6.5, and the quarterback's out. All right, we got to bet Arkansas. Whoa. Okay, so the quarterback's out, and the spread hasn't moved. What's wrong with that picture? So who is that? Is it the guy from the box score from the Auburn game from last week? Auburn didn't play LSU last week. Auburn A&M. So M. Johnson, the backup quarterback, is that what you're trying to say? Who's the backup quarterback on A&M? I don't know who M. Johnson is. All right, I'll go to the box score. Bobby giving me homework here. I assume we're talking about the Auburn game. So let's go to Auburn. All right, Auburn A&M. So Magic Johnson was 7 of 11 for 123 yards and 2 touchdowns. Wegman was 8 of 14. And then Texas Magic Johnson ran 4 of 15, so he's not a runner. A&M's got L. Moss, 15 for 97, running back. Auburn doesn't have any running. Magic Johnson was 7 of 11, 123 yards and 2 touchdowns. Peyton Thorne was 6 of 12 for 44. What kind of Auburn offense is this? In a whole game, Peyton Thorne, 6 of 12 for 44 yards. They bring in Greener, 2 of 7 for 8 yards. And Ashford, last year's starting quarter, was 1 and 4 for 4 yards. So it's like A&M held the ball the whole game. So if we go into how many turnovers did they have? See, A&M had 16 first downs, Auburn 14. Third downs, Auburn was 3 of 15, and A&M was 5 of 12. 1 of 2 of fourth downs. Total yards, Auburn 200, and Auburn's got Georgia this week. Okay. Yards rushing, Auburn 144, A&M 209. Passing, A&M 193, Auburn 56. Fucking Georgia's going to kill this team. Yards lost to sacks. They didn't have an interception. They punted the ball 9 times. All right, so my over-under in the Georgia game is going to be Auburn's going to punt 12 times. They punted 9 times against A&M. Holy shit. And we saw Miami light up A&M, right? We saw Van Dyke put up 40-some points. Ain't that good. 10 penalties for 64 yards, and they didn't lose a fumble and A&M. So they didn't have any turnovers. So then we go to how many times did they go for it on fourth down and not get it? My favorite stat. Auburn, turnover on downs once. Fumble touchdown. I don't know what that means. Only 1 turnover on down. A lot of punt. Auburn punted 4 times in the first half and then hits a field goal. In the second half, punt, fumble touchdown. What is this? So it's a defensive touchdown. So they didn't do shit. Another punt, a turnover on downs. 4th and 10 at the A&M 28. The quarterback sacked for a 3-yard loss. That was it. 27-10 A&M. And here comes Georgia. What do you think? How many punts is Auburn going to have? They suck. Oh, my God. I might have to load up on Georgia -9. Are you kidding me? Over under 46.5. This team couldn't do anything on fucking A&M. Wow. And it's not like A&M lit them up. Okay, so Magic Johnson, I don't know. I never heard of him. He did okay, but that's it. Georgia's going to beat the shit out of Auburn. Yeah, I think I can get my money back on the under from last week. So the question is, what does Arkansas now do against A&M? But they got Jefferson. I know you hate Jefferson, but look what he did to your LSU team last week. He lit it up. What was that score? Bobby's LSU team, 34-31. Jefferson did plenty. I did have the over in the game. I was very proud of that. I had the over and it went over 65. I was over 49. LSU's a pretty high-scoring team usually. And here they got Old Mississippi, and they're at 67. And I'm not quite sure they won't get there. I don't know what Mississippi's going to do after the Alabama game. So I think that's a little too high to play, but LSU's only 2.5 over Ole Miss. Really? I'm going to have to join you with LSU, I think. That's fucking ridiculous. Only 2.5 against Ole Miss. We just got the shit beat out of them by Alabama, who's not as good as LSU. LSU with the better quarterback, better defense. I don't see Mississippi winning this game. No fucking way. Worst quarterback, who, Jefferson? Yeah. You still lit up your LSU team. Hope he's working toward a valuable degree out there in Arkansas because he's going to need it. Yeah, I think LSU wins too, but I don't know. Arkansas should handle A&M with the backup quarterback with Magic Johnson. All I can say is we're getting a lot of gifts this week between my dogs and pro and these college. I'm getting Duke as a home dog. I'm getting Syracuse as a home dog. I'm getting 23 points in Kansas against Texas, Georgia, Auburn. Jesus Christ. And then we got prime time against SC. So what's the score of that one going to be, Bobby? Is Colorado going to score in the game, or is it another 52-0 game? Games at Colorado. USC doesn't have the defense that Oregon has. Still trying to figure this out. It's a big number, 73. And the best player on Colorado, not named Sanders, is out. Maybe the coach plays. Maybe Deion's out there. Very interesting. We will see. But I think there's too much attention on Deion and not the college and not the team. I think a lot of people don't like that. Colorado got one of Prime's son out and Hunter also on defense. He's on offense and defense. So Prime's son's out, but not the quarterback. Yeah, Colorado, they're going to get killed. Yeah, USC 21. That's first quarter. Colorado, USC will be up 35 at half. Especially as bad as they played Arizona State. They're going to want to bounce back. You're no longer on. You're not on USC. Prime has a quarterback and a defensive back. I assume the defensive back's out. But why are you off the game and not on USC? I love the names. What did he just throw up a bunch of letters and Shiloh and Schrader? Why not Deion Jr. and Primetime number 3? Why didn't he name his kid Primetime and Deion Jr.? Tuesday quarter, because their defense, their defense sucks anyway, Bobby. Well, we know that. I mean, we saw. The question is, what do we get from Colorado? Is it going to be another shutout, or are they actually going to put up 30 points? And I'm thinking They're not going to put up 30 points in this because USC doesn't really have that strong of a defense. But I think they're going to want to prove that they do. And I think they'll get after and blitz them. But I don't, there's Colorado. It's either take USC lay the 15 or I don't know if I can go over again with Colorado and not get there because they didn't score. So I think this is a USC. Let me just mark USC down. See, this is, I don't want to get fucked going over and then we get Oregon again. So I don't really want to do that. I think being at home and USC defense being so bad that Colorado will put up at least mid-20s. Oh, I think the spread's low enough that you can play them. What was the Oregon spread that I missed? Yeah, Oregon was 21 also. They won 42-6. I'm not sure I'm buying that Colorado's going to put up 20 points. And I'm not buying USC only getting 42. Yeah, I think USC's in the 50s. That's if Colorado plays well. They are just sick of Dion, so I think they kill him. They're going to kill him. They're going to kill him. They're going to kill him. My Herman Munster impersonation. So I got to mark Arkansas now. Arkansas is a good team. The quarterback's out, and there's still 6.5. I get 12.5. I liked Arkansas anyway, but with that fact, with the Bobby Bowe injury fact, now you can't go over on the game, but Arkansas on 12.5. You see, you don't like Arkansas. I like Jefferson. He's a good quarterback. Because he can throw, he can run, but he's a good thrower. So if Lamar had those skills where he could actually throw, then I would be more high on Lamar, but he can't throw. He's not a good quarterback. Well, I don't know if I agree with the late 60s in the game because I don't know what I'm getting from Colorado. I mean, USC is going to march up and down the field, right? We know they're going to get 50. What are we getting from? Are we going to get anything from Colorado? Now that they've the spotlight's on them, Colorado State held them down. Then Oregon shuts them out, and USC, yeah, their defense isn't that good, but I think they play them. Vegas likes to intentionally add a few more points on the total because they know, well, in this game, yes. But they should be coming to, as I said, a total that the theoretic logic is that they put the total where you get equal action. At 73, you're not getting the over betting. So if it's a lower scoring game, they're fucking themselves over. If it should be 70, right, and maybe we bet it at 64, but if they go to 73 and we don't bet it, then they're losing money because if I bet it and then they only play a 60-point game like last week with Oregon. So what? The over-under last week was 69. Probably scared a lot of people off. It was probably should have been 60, 62. And then they would have cleaned up because it ended up being 48. Can you imagine Oregon, Colorado was a 48, 42-6? That's the problem with overs. You only get there if both teams play and it's a competitive game. They need to score. Like LSU and Arkansas was a 66 because it was 35-31. That's how you get the overs. You don't get the over if one team doesn't score. So Colorado, 42-6. If that happens again, you're not going to get the over. And Vegas is killing themselves because they should be cleaning up on an over bet that goes under, but nobody's betting it because it's too high. But I know what you're saying, Bobby. Well, that's like Alabama, Notre Dame, Ohio State. They're always overspread because they know they're more popular and people are gonna bet them. All Jefferson does is run and short. That's no. Then go watch the highlights from last week. He made some long passes. In your game, he took what the defense gave him. BYU probably played too deep zone. LSU didn't, and he lit him up. He's like a trash version of Cam. No, he's not. He's much better. Newton Elise can air it out at times, but mainly they're both just two big black dudes who want to run with throwing. No, that's not Jefferson. That's Lamar you're talking about, but not Jefferson. Jefferson can throw the ball very good. That's my point with him. I've seen him make some good throws, so I don't buy that. Watch the Alabama game last year. He had some nice throws in that one. So I like RG3. He was better than both of those bums. RG3 was great at Baylor. And then see, this is the problem. Baylor was the inventor of the run pass option, and I loved it when I saw it. They read the safety instead of the defensive end. So Oregon, Auburn, they're reading the defensive end. He crashes down. They take it. They don't hand it off and run away. Baylor was the first one to do that with passing. They read the safety. If the safety came up on the run, he threw to the tight end who was wide open. If the safety stayed back, then he ran the ball. They were the first ones to do that. That was Oregon. And that's why RG3 was good. He did that at Baylor, but they never you got to run that. If you're going to draft him, you need to run that in the pros, which they weren't doing. So he'd go back. He wasn't reading the safety, which was his expertise, and he's fucked, and they're sitting there, and he's getting crushed because he doesn't know how to read that. It's not a good offense for him. So that's my whole Alabama, Ohio State thing. They're not even the Oklahoma, now USC. They're looking at the defense differently, and when they get to the pros, they don't see the same things they saw in college, and what worked in college does not work in the pros, and they don't know how to read the pro thing. That's why they all saw. That's why Fields was great at Ohio State, but now you've changed offenses on him. I'm not even sure the Bears have an offense, but you've changed offenses on him, and so now what happens? He's sitting there trying to figure out what to do. He has no pre-snap read. He can't read. And at Ohio State, he's reading guys in the box. Well, that's not what you do in the pros. Where's the safety? Where are the corner? Are they blitzing? And if they are blitzing, what do I do? The cornerback's coming off the side. What do I do? He doesn't know. That's why the Ohio State and Alabama quarterbacks suck in the pros, because they don't read that shit in college. But Joe Burrow does, and Mahomes did at Texas Tech. I guess they teach him better. But that's what you're trying to do. Yeah, Luck and RG3 were for real. Both were too great. Shame they didn't last due to injuries. Yeah. They were too tough for their own good taking hits. Griffin didn't get hit on sacks. He got hit for not running out of bounds soon enough. Yeah. I remember those. He hurt his knee on those plays. Well, that's what Richardson's doing. He's not sliding. You got to slide. You watch Mahomes. You watch even Stafford. They slide. They don't want to get hit. What the fuck is Lamar doing? And what is Josh Allen doing running into these big linebackers? What are they, out of their fucking minds? Okay, you're okay this play or next. Eventually, you're going to hit the linebacker, and you're going to get hit by a defensive end, and there goes your knee, and you're done. But if you slide, you don't have that problem. So I don't really understand what in God's name Josh Allen's doing. I know Lamar, he can't throw, so he runs. And then, these Richardsons and some of these guys are fucking, what did you draft them for? There's no way he'll be any good. Griffin didn't, yeah, Allen is not trustworthy. He screws up my bets a lot too. You got to be very careful betting Josh Allen because he can't handle the blitz. That's why you got to look at the defense. I locked them against Oakland because I knew that Oakland doesn't have a good defense, so he would have a good day. So if we look at these offensive teams, let's go NFL. That's what we're talking about today. So what do we see? We see Atlanta should have a good day. Jacksonville's got no defense. Josh Allen plays Miami, who has no defense. He should have a good day. Denver and Chicago playing two terrible defenses. Now, Baltimore, look for Lamar to have a bad day. He's playing Cleveland with this great defense. And the same for Cleveland. Watson will be worth nothing. Burrow has a tough defense in Tennessee, and Tennessee's got a tough defense in Cincy. Stafford should be okay. Indy's defense is Hurts should have a good day. Washington's defense is weak. So look for Hurts to have a good day. Look for Cousins to have a good day. Carolina's defense is bad. Look for Herbert to have a big day. Oakland's defense is bad. It didn't get any better since the Buffalo game. Now, San Diego's defense isn't the greatest. Look for Garoppolo if he plays to have a good day. Forget about Prescott and forget about Mac Jones. They're going to have terrible days. Purdy, you got to be careful with Arizona, who supposedly has this good defense, but I'm not sure. Holding Prescott to 16. And then Mahomes is not going to have he's going to have a tough day against my Jets, Jets. And then you got Geno Smith having a field day against the Giants with no defense. That's why I keep score the defense, because that's exactly what that's exactly what you're looking at, is how strong is the defense. And then you know what your quarterback's going to do. They're playing a weak-ass defense. Josh Allen's going to light up Miami because they don't have a good defense. He's going to have all day to throw. Boom, boom, boom. You got Mahomes against the Jets's. They're in trouble. This is a very strong defense. I don't get, people are just like ignoring it. They see Zach Wilson, they're going, oh, the Jets are not good this year. And I'm thinking, anytime you have a defense like that, you're a good team. They just had an extremely strong schedule. They started off with Buffalo, then they got Dallas, then they had, New England's not that good. They're lucky they don't have Alabama. That would be a struggle. So they probably had the hardest schedule. This week they got Kansas City. So their first four games are Buffalo, Kansas City, Dallas. Oh, yeah, Zach Wilson sucks. Yeah, who's going to do anything against those three defenses? Are you kidding me? And then, last week was only New England who's got a strong defense. So let's see when he starts playing. Let's see when he plays Miami what they look like. Now I'm calling for a money line play on that one, that the Jets will beat Miami in New York, because Miami has no defense and Tug's going to get killed by that Jets defense. Yeah, I think Rams should win outright. I can't imagine the Colts actually going 4-0. Well, not only that, but the Rams lost 2 in a row. I can't see them going 1-3 either. Now with Stafford, they played pretty well against Cincinnati. Sometimes I wonder how some of these BS teams like the Colts win games. They have nobody. Yeah, well, that's where the WWE comes in, and Ric Flair is the commissioner, and he's wooing them all. And he says, okay, Indy, well, okay, they beat Houston, but how the fuck did they beat Baltimore? That's Lamar, right? So it's not hard to beat Lamar, although Indy doesn't have that defense. I'm sure this is not helping Jonathan Taylor. They're 4-0 without him. Well, I think he's got a value. If somebody loses a running back, I'm sure he gets it. But what does Indy want for him? I mean, 2 first-round picks or something like that, then that's the problem. All right, Bobby. Do you need to see Egon again, or did you remember what I showed you? So we'll show Egon the eagle one more time. Now this is the short version. This is 7 minutes. 7 minutes of the alligator.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with our monthly Matterhorn interview, and today it's really a harsh fight against the
John Reed, of course, is the market strategist at the World Gold Council, so he sees a lot of these moves. And seeing here now is a physical market with high demand that is not offset by the manipulated Western markets. Where there is just paper gold or primarily not just, but primarily paper gold traded and not physical. And this is what we've been expecting for a long time, Jan. We know that the gold price is set totally in the paper market. That dwarfs the size of the physical market. And and we've been talking about before that once people ask for delivery, which is what they're doing in China, then there isn't enough physical gold around. Remember that there are 3,000 tons roughly produced annually, plus a bit of scrap of gold. And that's in today's market, which is a slow market, not with a high demand. It's a good constant demand, but no panic demand and no excess demand. But all of that 3,000 tons plus the scrap gold of a bit over 1,000 is being absorbed by the market every year with the price staying at the highs, more or less. And therefore, when people who hold paper gold ask for delivery, there just won't be any physical gold. We know that. And the only way then that this physical demand can be satisfied is not by producing more gold, because we can't produce more gold in the world. We are more or less at peak gold. And therefore, the only way it can be satisfied is, of course, by higher prices. People will got less gold for the same amount of money because they have to pay a lot more for it. And that's what we're going to see that in the next few years. We know that was going to come. We have been patient, Jan, for many years, and rightly so. But we know that supply cannot, and when supply cannot meet demand, which is what's going to happen in the physical market, then there will be a price squeeze, and that's absolute certainty. When it comes, it doesn't matter. We're sitting here safely with our gold, and we're insured, and we're just waiting for that moment to happen. In the meantime, we don't worry about the price.
I think this is something that will happen in the USA also. Let me read what Bai wrote. He is a Chinese analyst, and he wrote also on Twitter, the Shanghai price is the real price of physical supply and demand, while the price of COMEX is the false price because large numbers of naked shorts is false supply. So there is no comparability between the two price systems. That is exactly what you just said, Egon. And an article, Kitco, also used this fact and wrote an interesting article. You find this in the box also. Quote from there: China is the biggest gold consumer on the planet. It is the biggest gold importer. It's the biggest gold refiner. It's the biggest jewelry market and one of the biggest investment markets. It has the potential to grow, he said. What happens in China doesn't stay in China. Yes, probably it will happen everywhere. Not to mention that the Chinese economy is also in turmoil. We talked about that in the past, Evergrande and the whole real estate bubble there. It is also a physical demand from people, as everywhere, trying to protect their savings.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And when you say that the real price is in China, well, it is. I would even argue that it isn't even the real price, because we haven't seen the real price yet. Because the real physical demand for gold that will come because of the fact that the paper holders of paper gold will ask for delivery. That what shows the real price of gold. That what shows that the world cannot deliver that gold that is necessary to satisfy the outstanding paper claims, and that's what's going to show us at some point. I'm not saying when, because we've waited a long time, but it will happen. Then we will see the real price, and that will be very, very different to what we're seeing today. And of course, to say the Chinese, I mean, they are massive savers. Okay, times are tough in China now. It's not really easy for the consumer even there. But still, they save a major percentage of their income, and they also many of them buy regularly gold, which the West hasn't started yet with. No individual in the West buys gold on a regular basis.
Not for us.
And we know that it's only 0.5% of world financial assets in gold anyway. So that will come also. And therefore, but you and I don't need to sit here and talk up gold. We know that it's the only safe way of protecting your wealth. It's the only money that has survived in history. So we can just sit on our gold and advise investors to do the same, and just be patient, because the market will take care of the rest. Whenever that happens, if it's tomorrow or in a week's time or in a month or in a year's time, it doesn't really matter when it happens, because when you are protected, you don't have to worry about the price.
That's right. We cannot talk the gold price up, Egon. We can only bring people into the direction to take precautions and protect their own wealth. Even it is a bit boring to wait so long, but as I always say, rather stay in these times while it's still quite organized, because when the gold price moves to 10,000, it will look differently. Final word, Egon, for today?
Yes, remember that the gold price in itself is just a reflection of the total mismanagement of the financial system and the massive issuance of debt. So it's just a consequence, and it's all throughout history. It has always reflected this mismanagement and the fact that all currencies go to zero over time without fail. So that's why people should just sit tight, because we're not likely to have the biggest financial crash in the world or in world history in coming years. Don't know when. But the risk is that it can happen at any time, or it can take a number of years. And it really doesn't matter. When you know that a fire is coming, you buy your fire insurance today, and you just sit on it and don't worry about it. And what a wonderful fire insurance. This is real. You're holding on to real gold, which is actually, it doesn't disappear. It doesn't lose value. It actually increases value as the problems mount. So it's the simplest hedge you can buy in the world, and the best hedge you can buy. And that, we're not gold bugs. I'm not a gold bug at all. I just see it as the best way of protecting yourself, your family, your investors, if you have. And that's why we are trying to inform people here. Well, that's what they need to do, Jan.
That's what we continue to do. A fire insurance that survives the fire. Egon, thank you for today, for the September issue, and next.
So he does that monthly. Bobby Bow. Professor, what time you get up in the morning for the club? Well, I get up like 7:30 just to keep getting up. And then I go swim at about 10. So I'm like lying in bed, take a shower. About 10 o'clock, I go to the club. Normally I ride the bike and swim, hot tub, and then I get back here by 11:30, 12 and have lunch. And then, so before I was doing this earlier, and then I would eat, and then I'd go to the club, and I'd get home and I was starving. So I've and it's not as crowded. So I've been going to the club about 10, which is really working out. And then I get home and I'm hungry, but I'm eating my lunch in my window before my window closes. So I get out. You swim and work out fasted? Yeah, I'm still fasting at that point, if that's your question. So I haven't eaten. That's why I kind of go at 10 o'clock. So it keeps me from eating early. And then when I get home, that's why I'm so hungry now. I haven't eaten and I've done my swim and run workout. So now I'm really hungry from not eating and really hungry from the workout. But it's better than if I go work out too late at like 6, 7 o'clock. I get home, I'm starving, and I really shouldn't eat because the window's closed. So this works out best. It's true. China buying gold regularly, and you ask an American if they own gold, and they all think of it as no. They all think you're crazy, especially if you like as an asset, as protection, as get out of the stock market and the banks. If you ask an American, they'll think you're out of your fucking mind, and I know I get that all the time. They just look at me like I'm from Mars, and I look at them like they're the dumbest people I've ever met in my life. Yeah, I'm sure Luke related to the part when he said getting bored. Well, Luke related to the part where that the gold price, he heard the $10,000 an ounce, and then he heard Egon say, well, that's paper gold. We're going to get a much different price. And if you read between the lines, he's thinking, 30, 40,000 once to get rid of the paper. Once that blows up, he's saying you're not going to see 2,000 an ounce. You're going to see a much higher price. So I don't know if you saw that. I don't mind if I show that. Like I said, I only show about 5, 6 minutes. At first, I showed the whole thing as 18 minutes, but those are the critical parts from like the 11-minute mark till the 18-minute mark. But well worth it. But so we understand why. It's because of the inflation, which is printing the money to zero. As Egon said, all the currencies go to zero. That's a normal function of what happens, which we know. That's what I told Luke in the airport. He says, well, will it go down to 10%? And I said, Luke, it goes to zero. There's no, once the snowball's going down the hill, it doesn't stop at the bottom of the hill. It keeps rolling. That's what I tried to explain to him. There is no 10%. It goes to zero. But it's like that's why I use the Titanic example. It's nobody believes the ship's sinking, even though it's hit the iceberg and the water's up to their knees. They don't believe the ship's sinking because it's an unsinkable ship. And that's the mentality that people have with the U.S. dollar, and we're the U.S., and, well, we can't be going broke, or these too big to fail banks, or we're too big to fail countries, and we're the reserve currency. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck what we are. Our currency is worthless. That's what the truth is, right? It doesn't matter if you're the reserve currency. So you think because you're the reserve currency, it now has a value because you're the reserve currency? No, it's the currency's worthless. Same as the euro, same as the British pound, same as the Swiss franc and the German and the Japanese yen. They're all worthless. That's why I don't tell you to go into the euro or the yen or the British pound. I tell you to go into gold, because if you went to a different currency, you're still fucked, because they're still printing it to zero because they're not backed by gold. And as I said yesterday, the one key you must understand, no matter what the new currency is, if it's not backed by gold, it's worthless. Why do you think the Brics are coming out with a gold-backed currency? Because they understand the only currency that can last is one that's backed by gold. That's why Brics is coming out with it. That's why they want to get paid oil in gold and not dollars, because they know the dollars are worthless and they're about to go to zero. So Saudi Arabia and Dubai and Russia want to get paid in gold for their oil, because otherwise you're just giving it away. So I got oil, I'll give it to you. You're going to give me You're going to give me toilet paper. So wait a minute. I got real oil. I want real money for it. That's why they want gold. All that leads to a much higher gold price, because there's just simply not enough gold to go around, which means the price has to go up. So what do you think, Brics? They're going to come out with gold-backed currency. We already know that. That's what Alligator tells us. Sergei Zubov, or one of these NHL players, is an economist in Russia, and he's they're already coming out with a gold-backed currency. I've told Daria, keep an eye on it. Let me know if you hear it, because you're going to hear things in Russia that I won't hear here. The only reason I hear them is if Alligator Egon tells me. Otherwise, it ain't in our press. Unless I get a YouTube on it, I don't know. So with that said, so she's going to keep a track on it. She'll probably know before we do. But that's what I keep telling her. And I said, I went to the gold store and I show her some gold. I said, this is for us, and the price is going to go to the moon. So we'll retire. So like, she keeps going, where do you want to live? And I said, well, I don't care. I just want to live with you, but I don't care where we live. I just assume Switzerland. That'll be the best place to live. But you can't live in China. It's communist. You can't live I don't know about living in Russia. She's in St. Pete. I don't know if she wants to live there. She probably wants to get the hell out of there. But that's the problem. So that's what we're waiting for, and it seems to be getting much, much closer than what it's been, which is good for us. And it's getting close. So I keep saying, like Jenna will say, oh, yeah, any luck with the job? And I said, no, not. I says, I don't care if the gold, as soon as I only need money to bridge, because I don't want to sell my gold at 2,000 an ounce. I want to wait till it hits at least 20 or 30. Then I might sell an ounce or two, but I'm not really even looking at that point. The gold's for houses and cars. Here's an ounce. Give me the gold. Give me the car. Give me the house. That's what the gold's for. The silver's for the little stuff. But so I said, once the price goes up, you don't understand. I'm never working another day in my life. I'll do this is about it. My job will be football and then teaching economics, because nobody will really understand what the hell is going on except us. So I do. When we meet Egon for lunch, Bobby, we got to say we're the only Americans who actually buy gold and silver on a regular basis, because, I hate that. Oh, no, nobody in America buys it. And I'm like, oh, what about us? I'm there every Saturday. What are you talking about? Motherfucker, Egon. So that's really what we're waiting on. But if we really understand it, and the price is still, like, I looked at the price today, it was 1,900. Let's see what it's at now. And we know it's the paper price, but the point was that they're waiting for us. Oh, I hear Bobby and Howard want to buy gold. So gold's down $25 today. So gold's down to 1876. So our immediate thought is, let's go buy more. I mean, this is a joke. Silver 22.57. Gold went down to 1873. So your question is, nobody is selling, and this is the paper price. We don't care about it except, oh, well, if the gold's this cheap, I can buy more. So this will lead me to buy more gold. Not worried that this is the paper price. That's what Luke worries about. That's what you worried about, Bobby, and that's what a lot of people in America worry about, that it's the paper price. Oh my God, the price of gold is going down. And that's the differentiation you must understand. That's the paper price. That's controlled by JP Morgan. They don't want you in gold, and or somebody wants to buy it at a low price. So we, understanding that, go and say, fuck, I only got to pay $18.70 plus the $100 thing. I'll buy some too. Now I'm going to go take some more money out of my safe and go back to the gold store in a day or two and go buy more. And you'll probably have quarter ounces, half ounces. I mean, I'm buying them for pennies. This is a joke. So you're buying them because the price is low, but the price isn't real. That's not the physical price. That's the paper price. We don't know what the physical price is, but we know, just talking to Egon, it's a hell of a lot more than 1873. It's add at least 1 0 to it. Silver's down at 22.80. I'm getting worried that silver is down. Bobby, I just told you it's paper, so we don't care about that. We buy when the price is down because now it's even cheaper. That's why the price is down. It's manipulated. These are paper derivative prices, not physical. We don't give a fuck about it. Might have to peek out my driveway immediately and head to the coin store to sell. To sell? You mean to buy? Come on, Bobby. You're getting caught in paper gold. Don't. Paper is not. I assume you're joking that you want to go sell. Well, I thought it was a joke, but the way I read it, it didn't read as a joke. But I kind of know you enough to know that you're not. But that's what we do now. You want to go buy silver? I would go buy 100 ounces at this price, or gold. Now you should go buy some gold at this price. The mid 1900s. I mean, that's a joke. And to me, it doesn't matter. I just spent $2,000 on an ounce. What do I care? 1950 to me is not a big deal. Again, in my world, I'm buying more ounces. I like, how much more can I fit in my safe? And that's where I struggle and juggle is I need enough money to pay the bills so I don't need to sell my gold for money, right? It's too cheap. So at $2,000 an ounce, I don't want to sell 1 ounce of gold. It's too cheap. I'll start at maybe 20 or 30 if I need to sell 1 ounce. But I got, that's why I've got the money in the safe, and I'm debating how much money do I need in the safe to pay bills until the gold goes to the moon and I don't need the money. And then, basically it's kind of like counter insurance because at the time the money goes worthless, I can't buy gold with it anyway. So it's a bridge that I have to do I take another 10 grand and buy 5 more ounces of gold, especially now that the price is down? What's better? Is it better to have 10 grand in cash waiting in case I need the bills, or to go buy another 5 ounces of gold? And if I knew the answer of when the gold was going up, then it'd be easy. So I think we'll hear that it's coming soon. When is the Brics currency coming? When are the banks collapsing? That should be soon. If you watch The Big Short, they kept saying, well, in the fall of 2007, the adjustable rate mortgages will go up. And it still took 6 months to a year for that to happen. I'm surprised Madoff didn't understand that whole real estate trust thing, that this is a problem and I better figure out my scam a little bit better, my Ponzi scheme. But when I tell people all of Wall Street's a Ponzi scheme, they shake their head at me and I just laugh at them like, you don't get it. It's all a Ponzi scheme. By the time you buy a stock, it's gone up 10 points by the Warren Buffets and the JP Morgans and all those guys have already bought it. So if you want to buy Coke, it's already $10 higher. You're buying at the top, and then when you want to sell, it's already gone. So the whole thing's a Ponzi scheme. You ain't making money. They don't want you to make money. They just want you in the game so they make commissions. And they'll move you from, okay, Microsoft's having problems. Let's go into Tesla. Oh, electric cars. Let's get out of Tesla. Let's go to Amazon. Apple's got the new thing. It's all bullshit. It's to get you to move the money around, to not take the money, and it's getting more commission. You sell the stock, commission. You buy the new one, commission. How much commission's in gold? None. That's why they don't want you in it. That's why they don't recommend it. You know, I want to talk to the assault on Wall Street guy and tell him buy gold, buy gold, motherfucker. Oh God. But that's where it's at. I mean, if people understood they'd all be in gold and silver, nobody would be in the stock market, nobody would be in the bank, and nobody would ever be in the bond market or the real estate trust. You might buy the house, but now the problem is you're spending so much on the house now, and the interest rates are so high, and they're not coming down, Bobby Bo. So you've got this whatever. So it's a $300,000 house at 10% interest. So your payments are what, $3-4 grand a month, which you don't have. And with that said, then how do you make money on it, right? Who are you going to sell it to? Because interest rates are going up. The value of the house might drop only if you want to sell it, because it's going to cost the guy to get a mortgage, 15% on the mortgage, right? So but you're only selling if you need to now. Like if you're in your house, it's $400,000 or $500,000. You're not selling it for profit or for anything else, unless you're an idiot Canadian guy. You're just holding on to it because you're going to have to buy a new one, and it's going to be more expensive. So if you bought it at $3 and it's worth $5, if you sell it, it's going to cost you $8 to buy the same house you're in. So unless you need to sell it, you don't sell it. Where we come in is you need to sell it and the dollars are worthless, and we come in with gold. We don't have a mortgage. We don't have an interest rate, and we only paid $2 grand for the gold. That's like Seattle getting points from the Giants. It's the same thing. I mean, it's unbelievable. So for the $2,000 an ounce I paid for the gold, or $1,900 and some at $1,800, I don't even care. How many ounces do I got? I'll go buy a house without a mortgage. So I don't fucking deal with anything. And then how are you going to property tax me? Based on what? I didn't pay cash for it. You can't price me at $500,000 for the house. I didn't pay anything for it. I paid gold for it. So how are you going to property tax me? And that's where everything's going to get fucked, is trying to price things out. Because your house, basically, when the dollar goes, your house is worth zero, except for what somebody with gold will pay for it. Then your new price is an ounce of gold. And then we'll figure out what the ounce of gold is. When you go to the grocery store, it'll be an ounce of silver, and all the prices will adjust to the silver, like the Roman times. When they went shopping, when they went for food, they used silver, but eggs were priced as a tenth of a silver dime. That's how you bought eggs and milk and a cow or whatever. So that's what it was. So that's what we're looking at. Luke might be selling AI. I don't think so. When you see rates going down, not until the money's backed by gold, Bobby. The rates will go down in Russia and China with the Brics money, because now it's safe. The reason the interest rates go up is because if I loan you money, if I loan you 50 grand in inflated dollars, I'm going to get back the equivalent of 35,000 in inflated dollars. So I need to charge a high interest rate to get my 50 grand back, or I'm not going to loan it to you. That's why the rates won't come down, because you can't get rid of the inflation. You've printed $15-20 trillion. It ain't going down. That's what the point is. So it's not coming down. Now, once you back it by gold, the rates go back to nothing. There wouldn't be interest rates, because you don't need it, because the cost of money is the gold. And then you won't have interest rates. But then your house, if you bought it at 500 grand, is not worth 500 grand anymore. It's worth 2 ounces of gold. That's what your house is worth. And then how much is the gold worth? It'll be 100, 200,000 an ounce. Until it won't be in dollars, it'll be in gold. So 1 ounce of gold buys this $500,000 house. That's the value of the gold. That's where we get to, is the gold. That's the difference. Gold is money. So you could price things in gold. What's the Bitcoin guy going to do? Yeah, Bobby, I'd like to buy your house. I'll give you a Bitcoin. Well, what's the value of the Bitcoin? Well, I don't know, because there's no more money. So I got to value it in Bitcoin. And I'm sitting there going, well, I'll give you an ounce of gold that we know is money. What are you going to take? The Bitcoin that you don't have an account. If you do have the account, how do you trade it in? Or the ounce of gold, and the value of the gold is the value. So there goes your Bitcoin, right? Who's gonna want it? It's not going to be worth anything. It's priced in dollars. Gold, we don't care if it's priced in dollars. It's priced in gold. And you buy a house, you don't need a mortgage. So that's what you're looking for. And that's where we're headed. I remember the coin store guy that I went to in College Station last year said that silver will hit 4,000. Well, how does he know by 2025? I think it'll hit 5,000 before then. How do you date it? Right? So you can't really date it. I never date it. Egon doesn't date it. Alligator doesn't. You can't date it. It could happen tomorrow. It could happen in a week. It could happen in October when all the stock market crashes happen. It could happen January when Brics formally starts printing these dollars. That's when it hits. What's so special about January 25? See, I don't agree with that at all. That's when it'll hit. It'll hit far sooner than that. But once you see, the whole thing is, once you see $500 silver, then here comes the crowd. Here comes all the sheep. Here comes, here everybody realizes the Titanic's sinking. Here comes the crowd. They're all running to get to the lifeboats. Oh shit, we're going to die. We're going to drown. We better get out. Only the people like us who can think ahead are sitting there, we're in a gold boat. Yeah, I see the boat going down. That's a shame. But if you are smart enough to see what's happening, you've already bought. So when the crowd comes in and starts panicking, that $500 silver price goes to the moon, because then people start to realize, oh, fuck, they've lied to me. Silver really is money, and it's really not worth $25. Here it goes. And once it hits 500, it hits 5,000, because then everybody runs in going, oh shit, I got to get on my money and I got to buy gold and silver. Gold will be too expensive. They'll have to own something, so they'll buy silver. That's the bottom line. And Stone Cold's telling you that. I remember the sheep. Yeah, a lot of sheep out there. Here come the rats in the rat race trying to buy our metals from us, and we're going to charge them an arm and a leg for it. That's what Egon just said. That's when the price really goes up, because if you understood it, what he said is the supply is very limited to the demand. So, as I said, if supply's here and demand's here, that price has to go to demand. Well, if silver's $25, but the demand's here, the price has to go all the way up to where the demand is. This is why gold can never go to zero, because this little fella demand is keeping the price, is keeping a demand for it, and therefore the price goes up. That is what we want with demand. That's the whole key to it, right? So when people ask you, well, are you worried that gold's going to collapse? And you're like, no, there's huge demand for it. All the central banks buying it. Russia's got 34,000 tons. Why the fuck would Putin have 34,000 tons if it's going to zero? Why would the Chinese have 60,000 tons if it's going to zero? Because it's not going to zero. It's never gone to zero. That's why when Egon says in 6,000 years, we've always had money, because there's always a demand for gold, because people realize it's very limited. It's beautiful. People will accept it. So as we talked about what the money is, It's got to be durable. It's got to be limited. It's got to be accepted. Who doesn't accept gold? Are you kidding me? Somebody walks up to me with, here's gold for $100. Here's your $100. Who wouldn't accept gold? And so that's why it's just, you want to keep these prices this low. How much can I buy? How much physical can I own? I mean, that's, if you're giving it away, because we know the ending. We know that this price is phony baloney. So we don't understand what Biden's trying to do, and JP Morgan, by lowering the price. They're out of their fucking minds, because they're shorting gold. And if you do a derivative and you short it, you're expecting the price to go down. This price is not going down. They're all going to lose trillions of dollars, because when it goes up, they're going to be in these derivatives down. But good luck. I mean, they're going to lose their asses, but they don't understand it, because they just see the dollar going up and they short gold because it's an algorithm. But here, this algorithm is not going to work. So that's really what's going to happen. But we already know the score of the game. And the lady in the pool saying, well, that's your opinion. And I go, this is not an opinion. This is fact. This is what will happen. Gold will go through the roof is what will happen. It's not an opinion. And people got to understand that this is not, I'm thinking, or maybe, or Egon's thinking. This is what happens when you print this to death. When you print this to zero, when you do that, this goes to zero. That is a certainty. That's happened every time in history, and it's going to happen now. There's nothing the U.S. can do to save it, because they're the ones printing it. The only way you can save it is if you back it by gold, but then the gold price goes to the moon anyway. So we're covered. You can't raise interest rates to save the dollar. Then you crash the economy, you crash all the banks, if you crash the economy, you crash the government. So maybe we can get lucky and they crash the government, but this is it. I mean, but you've got idiots in charge of the U.S. government that they're Keynesians. They think they can print more money. The way out is to print more money. No, that's not the way out. The way out is to have gold. That's the way out. And that's the only way that the dollar doesn't collapse. But they're not going to do it because they don't have any gold. Why aren't they buying gold at this ridiculously low price? Yet they don't. I mean, it's unbelievable. Maybe JP Morgan does, but not the government. I don't know. But that's what should be happening. And then you got to realize there's not that much physical left. That's the other thing Egon said. So if you're holding paper gold, you're going to want to get physical for it. But there's not enough physical to cover all the people with paper wanting to cash in. So if you own an ETF, you own a stock, you into this derivatives things, you're fucked. You'll never get a nickel out. You'll never get 1 ounce of gold out of the ETF that Rick Rude does with that Sprout guy. You're fucked. There's no gold there. You own a gold stock, you're fucked. You're not going to get any money out of it. Well, the value of the stock is going to drop. Then after it drops, you might buy it, but just you got the gold. Buy the gold. Don't buy the stock. Why do you want to buy the stock? The gold's so cheap now, and the markets are going to crash. So it's the last thing you want to do. Then I was reading that the Batman in the Big Short is shorting the stock market. And again, he doesn't quite get it. They want to give him credit for picking the housing crisis, which I don't give him credit for. He was about 5 years too late, because if he would have known what was happening, they were giving loans to people, to anybody. That was done with Clinton in the 90s. I knew that right then and there. That's the cause. Here's the effect. You give anybody loans, these loans are going to be bad. People are going to default. So I could have got into real estate trusts. I says, fuck it. I'm not going to get into them. They're not going to last. So just like the Madoff scam, I think my brother-in-law got got in the Madoff scam. And he said, oh, you can make 15%. And I said, no, you can't. If interest rates are 4%, you can't make 15 in real world. And I told him to fuck off. So I didn't get into the Madoff thing, and I didn't get into Bitcoin because they're all made up bullshit. And I can smell the bullshit because of my background. So should have bought more gold, but I got, like I said, I got the cards, which are fine. I mean, they'll protect me as much as the gold will. But that's what you have to understand in that. So he's shorting the stock market. Does he know why? I bet he doesn't know why. I bet it's because the foreigners pulling their money out because of the inflation. Do you think this guy understands inflation? I doubt it. He saw that the mortgages were bad. So what is he saying now? He thinks the stocks are bad. He doesn't understand the concept. The concept is the dollar is bad. So all the foreigners pull $36 trillion of money out. That's what crashes the stock market. Not that they're all crap. Doesn't matter because the government prints money and puts it in the stock market to make it look good. So everybody will go, oh yeah, the economy's okay. Look at the stock market, which is another Madoff scam, right? That's all Madoff scams, all bullshit. So that's not what you want to do. So with that said, you just can't win with it. So that's the point. So if you understand the fundamentals, then you're okay. But if you're guessing, you can guess wrong. We don't guess. I don't guess. If I don't know, I tell you I don't know. Or if it's coming from a doctor that if you don't eat sugar, the cancer won't survive. That's not my opinion. That's the doctor who is telling me that I'm relaying to you. This is learned from my economics and my master's program. So none of this is opinion. This is all fact. This is what will happen. By the way, Bobby Bo is about to cut his avocado now. A little late, isn't it, Bobby Bo? I got to go to the grocery store because I'm out of avocados. And I got a roast. I bought a roast. Oh, you asked me rump or the other. I don't know. It's an English roast. That's what it is. I'm going to put it in the oven and bake it at 310 for an hour. And I'll probably not eat it tonight. I'll probably have it tomorrow. That's the one thing. I run to the swim. I come here and do this. I don't really have time to cook. So I got to cook after. But I'll be, and that's the other thing, because I'll be hungry because I won't have eat. So I got to run to the grocery store. I want to run to the haircut. She'll be there till 7. So I might run now. Yeah, I don't BS. And I think I'm pretty clear that it comes across that I'm not BS's. Even in my football, I'm not, I'm giving you the picks. I'm giving you the scores. They might lose because we can't predict the future 100%. We can't be Bernie Madoff, but the thought of the bets is sound, right? When you hear the bet and you hear the reason, you go, yeah, that's a good bet. It might lose, but it's a good bet. And that's all of my bets since I was 15 years old are good bets. They might not win, but they're good bets. They make sense. I always ask myself, well, why did I take this one? And why did I take that one? This is back in the 80s, right? Because I had Montana. Why did I bet this one? Why did I bet that one? And that's the point. So now whenever and I know I'm going to lose, I mean, you can't be so unrealistic to think, well, the professor's going to hit 100%. I mean, you're out of your mind. It's impossible. It's like, as well as I do poker, I'm going to lose hands. At craps, as well as I know it, the 7's going to come and 7 you out. So you can hit 4 or 5 numbers, right? You hit 9 and 8 and 9 and 10, and then the 7 happens. So let's say I pulled my money and then 4 more numbers came up and then the 7'd out. well, I could have won 4 more times. You don't know that. That's exactly what we're doing with gold. You only know the 7's going to come and kill your numbers. So as much as you can win and then take it before the 7 comes. Well, what we're doing is buying as much gold and silver at these prices before the 7 comes, and these prices explode, and then we can't really buy it anymore. Although we can buy gold with our silver. That'll be the silver lining, so to speak. We'll take 10, 15 ounces of silver and buy gold at 50,000 an ounce. That'll be if we want to do that, right? Thank you, Bobby. I appreciate that. What seasonings do I use? Well, you should use salt and pepper. I will put basil on it also, and some garlic and turmeric. And then I'll put olive oil on it. I'll baste it in olive oil and then put it in the oven at like 310, 320 for 70 minutes. After about 35 minutes, I turn it over. I'll put a little bit more olive oil on it, and that's it. Gordon Ramsay just salt and peppers it, but I like a little bit more flavor. And the olive oil is just to keep it moist. But that's all I do. It tastes great. And instead of getting, 3 pounds of hamburger and making 9, 10 hamburgers, I do a roast. It's the same price. And, I basically have 10 hamburgers in one roast. I did go to the grocery store to buy it yesterday, and I noticed that hamburger meat was now the 91 sirloin was now $8.50 or $9, and then the 86 sirloin was now like $7.99 or something, $7.50 for an ounce. If you buy 3 pounds, it's cheaper. That's why I buy 3, and that's finally going up a little bit. I could have got the 81 for like $5 or whatever. They always have one thing on sale. And I've been waiting. I've got my freezer jammed with it, and I keep waiting for the price to go up, and it doesn't go up. So I start eating it, and then I buy new and replenish. Is it now starting to go up? I don't know. Gas, I filled up for $3.48 a couple days ago. That hasn't started to move yet, as it had started to move, and then it kind of leveled off. So I keep waiting, but the key, that's, I think, manipulated, but the key is the interest rates. The car and the house loans at 10% that's your inflation more so than anything else. All right, so that's it, Bobby. A lot of everything I make, it's pepper, it's salt and pepper, it's garlic, turmeric, and basil is very sweet. You don't think it is because it's just green, things. But if you smell it and put it on, it tastes really sweet, the basil. And, not on everything. I mean, I'll put basil on everything, but I don't need garlic on everything or turmeric. But with me, I want to have, keep the inflammation down, and those are good for inflammation. They'll keep it down. But I think that's it. So we've got our football. We've got our free picks. Take Green Bay. Get that bet in now while they're a dog, and play it with Seattle as a dog. Get it in now, because if the game goes off tomorrow and Detroit's still a 1.5-point favorite, I'll be fucking shocked. And the same thing with Monday night. If the Giants are still a 1.5-point favorite, I don't know what to think. I mean, that can't be. Then I'd be worried it's a fixed game if they're still 1.5-point favorites. But the beauty of the teaser, even if it's a fixed game, that just means the Giants can't, so if all the money's on the Giants, then they have to lose, because you can't win the game. If it went to 3, they would say, well, you can win, but not by 3. So the teaser's beautiful. But if you're making Seattle the dog, they're going to win, because you can't fix that. You can say, well, you got to lose by more than 1.5. No, it's the favorite that can't win by that. If they're 7-point favorites, you can win, but not by 7. I've never heard the loser The dog being the fix, right? Well, you guys have to lose by more than 7. I've never heard that in one of those scams. So keep that in mind. I think I think we'll have to go get gold tomorrow at these prices. What's today? Tuesday, Wednesday? I don't even know what day it is. I think it's Wednesday. Yeah, today's Wednesday. 1876 for gold. What are you kidding me? Down $25. What did the Fed say? They're raising interest rates 1%. I mean, and then everybody thinks that's why gold. Yeah, that's so they try to correlate. Well, paper gold went down because they're going to raise interest rates, or the Fed isn't, or whatever. And then they come, that's why gold's down. It's paper gold. It's got nothing to do with any of that. It's JP Morgan doing their derivative bullshit. It's got nothing to do with the dollar. It has nothing to do with it. It's all paper. It's all bullshit. Anyway, I think that's about it. 3.5 hours. So I got to go try to get a haircut. I got to go to the grocery store and just get some avocados and some fruit. I can have another salad. I had a salad for lunch. I don't really want another one. I could have an omelet. Yeah, I could do that. And that's about it. So I think I will try to get a haircut and go. A little bit of traffic now. It's 4:40, but oh well. So that's it. Understand the fundamentals of what you're doing. Understand what are you looking for, why gold goes up is critical. What you do about the inflation, you buy gold and silver. And that's it. Stop fucking with real estate, because real estate's already way high. Gold has been suppressed. Gold hasn't gone way high yet. And we're fighting the government, but we got Russia and China on our side. So it will go up with the Brics, as Egon says. And really, that's what you need to understand. So these prices going down, it's a buying opportunity. And that's it. Football, we understand why we bet the games. We're looking for weak defenses to bet against with strong quarterbacks. We're looking for A plays A, Clemson playing Syracuse. We like the dog because it's an even game, especially when they're the home dog. Game's in Syracuse. The game's at Duke for Notre Dame. So that's what we're looking for. A good team as a dog, especially a home dog. And that's what you want to play. That's what you're looking for. It's a little more risk because it's a good team against a good team. But if you have a good team, then that's what you want. You want it as a dog. Oh, great. I get they can lose by a touchdown. And I went Duke, North Carolina, Notre Dame. Notre Dame's 5.5. I get 11 points. I can lose by 10. But Duke beat Clemson 28-7. And we see what happened with Florida State. So what the fuck? And the game's at Duke. So that's kind of what you're looking for. And you're looking for the weak teams to bet against because they're going to kill them. That's primarily, do we take USC? At what point do we take USC? Is it too high? At 21, is it too high? Not after what Oregon showed you, it's not. So have the fundamental questions why we do what we do, and that's what you're trying to do. So with that said, I think it's dinner time. I am very hungry, and that's about it. Anything else? Questions, comments, criticisms? Oh, you're welcome, Bobby Bo. Thank you. I appreciate that. I was telling the lady at the pool, I says, I do this for free because it's important to me to educate you guys because you don't know and you're not going to find out. If you don't hear it from me, you're not going to find out anywhere. Because you'll never find Egon and Alligator, and because I know what to look for, but you'll never know this. And when everything hits, you're fucked. And I don't want that. I want to be able to help who wants to listen to buy the gold and silver. And that's really why I did it. So the lady, I guess, understood, but I'm like, lady, I don't make friends with liberals that think that Trump's this and Biden's that. Biden's 80 years old. I said, he shouldn't be president. He doesn't know what he's saying. Oh yeah, I know he looks at a teleprompter. This is the president of the United States. Do I look at a teleprompter to teach? 3.5 hours. Did I ever look at a teleprompter? The only thing I do is look at the point spread, so I know what it is, the injuries, so I know what they are. And once in a while, I go into my notes on my economics just to make sure I'm reading them clearly. I don't show you charts, and I don't look at a teleprompter. I mean, it's like, yeah, we want 80-year-olds as running the country. Yeah, okay. That's why they all retire when you're 60. From these big companies because they can't handle it anymore. Plus, they're rich. Biden's rich, but he doesn't do anything. So in this job, he loves it. But I told her, let's not talk politics. I don't like it, mostly because nobody understands it. I get it, but I can't. What am I going to do? Oh, I like Biden. Okay, I can't. Well, she likes Biden. What am I going to do? I don't want to have a conversation about it. I don't want to have a debate about it. So off we go. All right, everybody. Well, have a wonderful day. Tomorrow we will go back over some college. We'll look at the Thursday games. I should have the free pick. Did I go over college? I didn't. We'll have to go through college injuries tomorrow, which I think I looked at them. But we'll have to go through them tomorrow because then it makes sense. The games really, there's some on Friday and Saturday. Today's injuries don't mean anything, but once you get into tomorrow, and then Cam Rising plays Friday. So this will be interesting. So we should know Friday if he's playing. If he's playing, I'm taking him as a dog. If he ain't playing him, I'm betting the game under. That's all I can say, but we won't know what the game's 7:30, 8 o'clock because it's at Oregon State. So we'll see, but I wish they'd stop fucking around with him and let him play. But this guy's more interested in being Bernie Madoff than being a doctor, I guess. Okay, everybody, I'm off. Hopefully to get my hair cut and then I hate when it gets bushy there. And then I'll probably get some dinner and then I got some injuries to look at and then figure out my college bets. All right, everybody. Have a good day. Thank you very much. I hope you learned. Again, www.teaserking.com, and you can get my email there. I don't like to just give it out here. There's who knows who's looking, and I don't want to get a bunch of crazy. That's why I don't want comments. I want chat, but I don't want comments. Oh, great show. Okay, thank you. Oh, but if I did something wrong, I can't. Here I can defend myself with my comments. If you just type a comment, you're an idiot. What am I supposed to do? Oh, okay. So I don't do comments. That's why I don't. And but you can email me, and you should be able to get it. I know it's on my Teaserking homepage. So www.teaserking.com. All right. Have a nice day, everybody. Take care. Stay healthy. Buy your gold. All right. Goodbye.